The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this program are the speaker's own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Reggie Miles and Reggie Miles Edutainment. The material and information presented here is for general information and historical purposes only. Conversations, the Chicago Style Chronicles, and all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owner, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific individual, group, organization, product, or service. We are here. I'm just coming in straight on today. 'Cause this one is ready. Do you have some headphones on, Bud?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you have headphones?
No. I can hear real good where I'm at.
Okay, because when I talk, I get a let me see, I get that cancellation noise in the background. So let me check this out. Let me check my audio out. 1, 2. Can you change volume on your what kind of device are you using?
I'm actually on my phone.
Oh, okay. Kinda like turn that down a little bit.
Is that
Okay.
better?
Well, we're gonna have to work with it. So, and I'm not gonna be talking that much. No way.
Right.
I'm gonna let you. This is what this is all about. All right, so let me do this all over again. Welcome to Conversations, and tonight I have a very special guest that's going to be inside the studio with me, and that's Mr. Unique Maurice, and we're going to talk about his journey in the stepping game. Okay, so listen up, make sure that you hear, like, share, and tell everybody right now that this conversation is going on. Okay. Thank you, Lynn John, for tuning in, and we're glad that everybody's here. We're on a new platform. Well, not the new platform, but we do now have our own page on conversations that the YouTube videos, the videos are there. And right now we're live on Twitch. So I'm glad to have you. Disclaimers and all that other stuff has been running. Let me introduce my guest, Mr. Unique Maurice. Peace.
Peace and love, my brother. Peace and love.
You start off and you educate me on where you've been in this day.
Okay. We'll go back to 94. We'll go back to 94. 94, 95, I was primarily skating, which at that particular point there was, the skating and the stepping community are somewhat intertwined. So you would get a lot of skaters and steppers kind of back and forth between skating and stepping in the same community. So before that, when I was coming up as a kid, my grandmother was a twin, and her twin sister, they used to bop all the time. That's when I first saw it. A lot of my family were boppers back in the day, and being a kid, of course, at the time I didn't know what it was. So when I grew up and got a little older, I was always skating with the individuals, but I never knew that when they left skating, they went stepping. So it just so happened I was skating, and then I started being with another group of people that would go down to, back in the day, we used to call Gucci's out in Harvey, Illinois, after we skated at Markham. They would go to Gucci's, and I started going to see what that was. And I still didn't take a big interest into it until this one Thursday night. Um, my aunt, my cousin was like, "Hey, we're gonna go hang out." I was just the driver, so we ended up over at the Rose on Madison. So when we got there, mind you, at the time the Rose was a 30 and up club, but um, you know, I tend to be more of an older spirit. So when I went, I got on in, but I was only about 23, maybe, I think at that time, what have you. So, we went in, I saw, the West Side, at the time, that's the West Side, Steppers was over there, and I walked in there and I saw all these women dressed up, these guys, and what really caught my attention, of course, I saw the women and I was like, hey, that was great. What caught my attention was my cousin was like, watch this. And we would just be standing there and the women would be just coming to get them. Come on, let's go dance. Let's go dance. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I had never been to, a social dance where the guys weren't going, being chivalrous and going to get the women. It was the opposite way around. So that is what sparked my attention. And that very night was the night that I was like, oh, I'm gonna learn how to do this. And this is a typical thing that happens, right? So when you first are watching stepping to what you think it is, from the outside looking in, and you have never, quote unquote, learned or had done it, then what you see is just what you see. You think it's all the same, right? And we get that a lot nowadays, especially in the contest form of it, where you have most of the audience looking in, thinking that because they did some spectacular thing, that means that they exactly were stepping. But so I didn't know any better, and I asked my cousin. I said, "Hey, look, you have to teach me how to do this." And he was like, "No, I'm not." And I said, "Well, yes, you are." So from all the way from the roads, all the way back out south. At the time, we was over on 111th and State, where he was. I was like, "Look, you're gonna teach me how to do this." So basically, he gave me these 6 steps, and of course, I didn't know that they were incorrect when he was showing me, right? Because I'm thinking he cold with it, right? Little did I know he really could dance that well, but I'm thinking he cold with it. So that was the beginning of my passion for, oh, I'm going to learn how to do this. From that moment, that day, um, him and I went out literally about 6, 7 nights a week until I burned him out. Like, I think we did that for about a good 2, 3 weeks straight. And he was like, I can't keep doing this with you. Because literally we was going to all the little hole in the walls, the Sandpiper, the Den, the Godfather 2. We was going all those little places because I didn't know about the sets at the time. So all I went to was the places that he took me to, which was all the little places where all he did really was go hang out, drink, and kick it. It wasn't like an actual set, right? And I didn't even know that at that very same time the skaters were going to the sets, um, like Desi and them, Desi O'Kelly, Valerie Smith, um, Patricia. Like a lot of those people were actually going to quote unquote stepper sets that I just didn't know. I was just skating with them, and then I would leave and go do my own thing. Um, and that once I realized that, oh, these people that are in these little holes in the walls, you might get 2 or 3 people that actually can dance and replace to going to a set where 95% of the people can dance. Well, I didn't know that, So during those during that time, I basically was just going trying to teach myself how to dance with this type of person, dance with that type of person, dance with that type of person. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a method that I can dance with multiple types of people. and be able to do this, which is the reason why I started really teaching myself what I wanted to, how I wanted to do it, going out, practicing, then coming back and relearning um, what I wanted to do. And once I started going to sets, that's when the exposure of the dance and what it was about really started to, the culture of the dance really started to hit me. So that was realistically like 94, beginning of 94, going into like 95. I went to the world's largest in 95, and I watched, and I was just like, hmm. And I still didn't think about wanting to compete, but I was like, I'm still gonna learn this, and I was still in the process of learning. Um, so moving into the 95, going into 96, I had been pretty much since the time I started to that point in time, literally going 6 days a week, every place I could think of, dancing, going back home. I would literally leave work, go home, go in the basement. My grandmother used to be like, "Hey, what are you doing down there?" I had a music up. The very first song that I heard when I walked in the Rose was Johnny Goodtie Watson,
Superman lover.
Superman Love. Listen, that has been my cut ever since, right? And the funny part about it, which, as you know, when you have a family of, you know, dancers and things of that nature, majority of my family and my cousins were DJs, and majority of them were um, general contractors and things of that nature. I didn't find out till later that they were part of the people who built most of the clubs in the city, like the Copper Box, the Red Room, Red Peppers. They were the ones doing the flooring, the walls, the construction. I didn't learn that till later on down the line, but it all started to make sense after I got to, got more into it, that, my family was surrounded around it. They just wasn't really in depth as a culture and really into stepping like that, but they were around, right? Um, so that was the beginning of my journey to the passion and the love for stepping, the seeing the environment, um, right there in that beginning part before I competed in the first contest in '96. So that end of '95, the middle to the end of '95 was when the High Steppers was rolling. I was ended up being a part of After Seven with Alonzo Brown. That was actually my second club that I was with. I was with China Dow and Ruben and them. Before that, then I ended up going to that was Boss Productions. Then I ended up going to After Seven with Alonzo Brown and them because that was more closer to the skaters. And then after skating, we would go on Wednesday night to the premiere where the Club Ultimate back in the day, which became the Skybox later on in the 2000s. Um, but that was my start. So right around that time, realistically, talking about high stepping was like the big thing, right? That was like, it to me it really felt more of a like a staple, but then as time went on, it to me it kind of went more towards a trend. Back when high steppers they had, uh, Joyce, Desi, um, Claudel, Ice Ray, um, Pat and them was there, the little small thing. I keep calling her Pat. Um,
Leanna.
yeah, Leanna was there too, right? It was Leanna. Then you had Bishop Seymour, Don Juan. Uh, those people were, all a part of that little group. And that was a remarkable time, man. Listen, I would go there, stand on, because you remember you have to go up on the stage at Sarah J's to get up on the dance floor. You had to get up, so the stage was like at chest level and up. So I used to go stand on the rail and just watch. because during that time you couldn't just come up there and get on the stage with them. They wouldn't let you just get up on the stage. After they got down and got to finish doing a few things and they came off, then they would, you know, you could get on up there with with a few people with this, that, and the other. But I watched, and I specifically watched Claudel and Ray majority of the time. Macaroni was part as well. Um,
Zach.
right, yep, Zach, yes. Ice Rob, a lot of people sleep on Ice Rob, was Ray cousin. Um, so I watched. I mean, I danced, I watched, and I would see something, and as soon as I could get up there, I would go up there and try to, mimic what I saw, and then go home, practice, come back, go do it all over again at the next party. Um, that was a very instrumental time to me because we had a lot of fun during that time. You
Well,
know,
they say that at that time, that's when the beginning of that was like the training ground or the proving place for all the new instructors.
yeah, yeah. If you were teaching and if you were, um, it kind of was like when you went there, if you had, one of the if you were one of the top dancers, you was gonna come there. You know that's where you was going to be. And-
Don't forget Donnie Davis.
right, yeah, yeah. Donnie was part of that too as well. Yeah, that's right. And there was quite a few people. You know what I mean? Like, we can go on and on naming, quite a few people that were in that time. But that proved to be like a place where when you wanted to get down, that's where you were coming to. Along with like the East of the Rhine. Um, them Friday nights at the East of the Rhine was killer. Like when Terrible Ted and them was spinning, when Sam Chapman was spinning occasionally on those nights. Um, it was the place you wanted to be. Um,
Let me ask you, did you notice that two there was like two different sets that was going on?
oh yeah, definitely, definitely. During that time, that was to me like it was like a bridge time, right? For people like um, Dave Max, um, when Tickman and I kind of was at the same time. He was just a tad bit before me. But Dave Max, Tickman, myself, um, Drake came a little bit later, maybe like 1 or 2 years later, I believe. It was like a period of time in which it was mainly a lot of older elders in the dance, and then you had a little gap, and then there were like my generation, the Tickmans and things that Dave Max, myself, you know, um, and to some degree, even Donnie was still not necessarily of that age level to me. It seemed that he was fitting in a little bit closer to where we were. Um, but you could tell the gap, and then you can also see that there was the high steppers, and then you had like Good Time Productions. You had like Deja Vu going on. Um, uh, Even like with the DJs, you had like Steve Brewer. Ron Brown taught me how to DJ initially, and then when he kind of left the scene, then Mellow Chris, I was under Mellow Chris. But even in the DJs, it was a difference in the flavors of the DJs. And one of another significant set that was going on, which is what I'm referring to when you said there was different sets. Going down to the Rat Pack on a Wednesday was totally different than being at a regular weekend set. It was just a totally different vibe. It was the music was different. Um, the people were different. That was more of a after work type of thing. They came in there with their suits on from work, and things of that nature. So yeah, definitely. There definitely was a difference in the sets.
So let me give you a little history background. Uh, I was the Rat Pack's first DJ
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean,
when they were when they were at Ricky's. When
right.
they
He's on 22nd. Right.
Yeah, they opened up Ricky's, the Millionaires Room. They opened up the Millionaires Room on 25th Street in that version of Mr. Ricky's,
Yeah.
and I was the DJ. I had them Wednesday night, and, I did the Thursday stepper set.
When did Mr. Ricky start?
Now, that particularly at that set, I don't know, but Ricky had a place on 103rd. He had another place, but he had that place that was across the street from Maurice, and that was on 25th, and then he moved down to 22nd after they
22nd.
shut that one down. He also had one on 55th.
Yeah. Yeah. And one on 22nd. The reason why, because I remember being there a lot on those Wednesdays, and then because at that same place, I forgot the social group that had the party there on. I want to say it was third Saturdays or what have you. I can't remember who that was, but we used to go down there because back then that's when I was dancing with Tina Moore. Uh, Back then we would be there on like that. I want to say it was like the third Saturdays or something like that. But those were, like you said, that you're correct. There were different types of sets going on during that era. Um, but yeah, that's what kind of pushed me on into the community. That's what kind of drove me at the time, just trying to gather what my style would be in the dance. And leading up to that, then at the time, to me, the hot people were that were quote unquote competing. I hadn't really found out who they were um, until that second year. I watched the first year, then in '96 was the first time that I got into it with Lil Pumpkin. Um, that was our first competition in '96. And at the time, that's when Tony Dow, he took first with Darlinda. Um, I was second with Lil Pumpkin, and Royce was third with Charnice. But by that time, in all actuality, by that time, I had been actually already teaching stepping for about close to almost 8 months or almost close to a year by that time. So it was just a different era, different time. Then I started to learn who all people were, uh, like Keith Hubbard. Um, I already had knew Pete from um, with dealing with some other people that I knew, so we had mutual friends. Um, but during that time, Mary Green was doing the contest, and uh, that's when I started to see all the different people and start to learn who they were. The George Macaronis, and, all of them. I knew them from the high steppers, but the rest of the world that was quote unquote coming to Chicago, I just started to really understand and learn who those people are. And then shortly after that, then the Dre's came along, and uh, people like Herc. Um, then you had people like Margette and Daryl, um, them dancing. So it was a lot of people back then. I try to tell people all the time when I first started competing that first year, there had to been almost 15,000 people down at the Sheraton. It was a ridiculous amount of people. Um, it was considerably different back then. You know, the excitement of it all, being on that stage, I feel like was magnified maybe 3 to 5 times more than what it is now because of that energy and the amount of people in the room. Uh, it was unbelievable.
Well, I gotta, because let me explain. So I'm working like doing some engineering and stuff while I'm speaking. So I'm being very courteous to my guests and let guests speak because when I try to go back and exchange, it causes feedback on my end. And so I don't want to have that because this is like some real important information. So what I want to do is just start asking a couple of questions and let Unique Maurice elaborate on it. Now, listen now, it's one thing about that 1996 competition. You can't find no video on it.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. When well, for a long time, let me just be honest. For a long time, I never watched any of the videos. I didn't think I started even seeing even any of the videos until in the 2000s. I never got a chance to watch it because either either um, I think it was Marky G had the tapes. Some other people had a few, but it was very difficult to get a hold to 'em. Macaroni had a lot of them. Um, Ironically, Herb Kid had a lot of videos also, and Kenny B. Thompson had some videos too. But it was hard to get a hold to them, and I didn't really like year to year at that point what I danced like the year before, so I didn't really have an interest. I really didn't have an interest in it, in the beginning. But yeah, it was a while before I even saw some of those videos. And they're still like maybe I still have not seen I, s- I haven't seen the video in from '98. I haven't seen I haven't seen the Masters video. So it's still some that I have not even seen um, at all. And they're like some of them were just lost.
You know, that's like a like a thorn in my side, right? Or that just goes to show how critical I mean, how vitally important it is now that we make sure that we chronicle our own journeys.
Document. Yes, yes. Can you? Yeah.
So that's what that is. If you could turn down your phone a little bit more, that'll ease it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Me? Yeah. See, because this is StreamYard has a setting StreamYard has that setting that says, kill the noise cancellation. I mean, it has the noise cancellation in the audio. I don't know if you press that or not in your phone, but when you do go in the audio and it has a little blue box that has noise cancellation, it should be checked, and if you have it checked like that, that'll help. Because right now, what I have to do is make sure I turn you off while I'm talking, and then wait a few seconds before I open up the mic again, because that's like the delay, and that feedback is gonna come back. Okay, so we'll wait till he gets back and come in. Thank you all so much. So, but that's what now that's what I have to go through. It's like best when we do use the computer. So he'll go and come back and he'll come back in and we'll hope that that gets rectified. But that mainly happens when the guest when they don't use the earbuds. Let's see what happens. Let me get him back up here and he's back. Oh, still got it. Yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
So the best way with that is to, we got to get those earbuds, and so he's gonna go get those earbuds, and that'll take care of that. But in the meantime, y'all, so this is what we do. I changed the way I got the studio around, so it's gonna be kind of like different, and it's gonna be different. So I do look a little better with my camera. So and that's working out as well. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, he can hear me good, but the feedback is gonna come back. So I'm gonna just shut up, and I'm gonna shut up and, let him tell us. So, let's look at this video first. I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to this, 2000 and no, this 1999 video with, Unique Maurice Turner and Shanice versus Andre Blackwell and Lynn Hudson. Let me get that in there. Uh, Let me share the screen on that, and let's see, share the screen, and let me bring that one up. Alright, and so I'm gonna share that.
All right. Can you hear me?
So it won't be any, I won't be playing any audio because I don't want to, get in any trouble. Let me see if I no, I'm not gonna make it no big. I'll just leave it right there. And so we're gonna look at it. I'm gonna come in and Maurice, I'm gonna let you describe what you were going on, what you were doing with Dre at this time. So I'm gonna just shut up and let you talk.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah,
So in looking at that, this is the beginning of the contest. Um, it was, very up tempo, upbeat during that time. Um, Sharnice and I used to always back then when we was dancing. It took me a while to adjust to um, slow down some. I used to always be fast. Claudio used to help me in being fast during that time, but Dre and um, his partner, Annette, she was, at that time it was the transition and like I say, that in between time in the dancing, but you could see there were a lot of turns and things like that happening. This was like the beginning of that era where between like 96 and 2000, you start getting a lot of different movement in the dance, a lot of um, turns and spins and things of that nature. I still kind of in contest. I still really didn't do much of that. I really just focus on footwork movement and style because I pretty much have my own style. And at this particular point in time, even to this day, I don't feel like there's anybody who have my particular style. And Dre and Lynn, they was killing it. Um, I think they were one of the first persons to do that I had seen where she had taken over the lead and was dancing, leading Dre or what have you. And he ain't nothing but a spinning top. So when you watch him, he gonna do 50 spins. He was, he's very good at it. I knew Sharnice was a very graceful dancer, so I tried to just tailor my dance around what she was doing, um, and just move with her. But that was an exciting time. In '99, that was my what one, two. That was my third competition, and my second time dancing with Sharnice. I danced with Sharnice in trio um, in '97. Her, Tina Moore, and I was in trio. So I think Dre had really started coming on at that time, right about '98. I think somewhere around there. '90. I don't think I seen Dre until maybe '97, into '97, '98. But um, you could see like most of everything that I was doing was specifically more of style and my own personal footwork. Um, Lynn and Dre, they had a lot of footwork themselves. But just like now, you can see Dre doing the spins and turns. Like that was like the beginning part of that. So it kind of transformed. That style of that 39 and under kind of was where that was at that time. And when you went to that 40 and up, then you got more of a quote unquote an original style of dancing. But I don't know if you pay attention. Even in that year, we had to have almost 10,000 people in attendance. I can't remember if that was at the Sheridan or if that was at Navy Pier. I can't remember which one that was at. But yeah, that was I had a ball during them times.
All right, I'm gonna try to say something for a quick minute.
I changed to my earbuds,
One
so see
thing.
what happens.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I put my one of
Oh,
my
you
earbuds in.
okay?
See,
Good. Oh
did it
yeah,
make a difference?
yes. That made all the difference in the world, baby. We
Uh,
we can go at it now. We can go at
right,
it now. Oh, thank you. Because what happens, technology it's a feed, it's a loop, and that's a
right,
feedback. That's what happens when you because the way I use StreamYard with it, and I'm
right.
running back through my board, it whatever. But it so one of my other peers, let me know that. So I said, "Oh my god!" And so now I try to encourage the guests to use earbud or something like that, and then we'll be fine. And then people won't
Yeah,
hear all that noise. So thank you, and they be hollering, because when I
right.
do something wrong, they gonna get on me, right? Oh, they go, they gonna give
Right.
me the business. But the one thing that I loved what you said in that description of what was going on is in actuality history repeating itself. Okay, because you
Mhm.
said as it was coming in with this new thing between 99 and up to Step in the Name of Love, that actually happened in the first World's Lodges when
Okay.
when uh when Little Alfred and Janice came on the scene and they was doing the stepping, the new Bob stepping with the traditional with Abraham and Cheryl Jackson, Dimples, and Marzette. So
Hmm.
it's like it was, people like to say it's something new, but it ain't really nothing new. you know,
Right, right, right.
it was just another time when that came around. But I'm just so glad that you said that. And that Dre, we was man. But
That
even Dre,
was something else.
yeah, he's something else. But Dre was like, Dre is spinning Benny wasn't elaborate, but Benny could spin 700 miles
Just like
an
that.
hour too. Yeah.
Yes, just like that.
you know,
Just,
so,
hey, look, to this day, Benny
yeah.
can spin like that.
So I'm like,
Listen.
whoa, and we gave him a name. And nobody ever tried to do that. We let
Mm-hmm.
Benny spin and we called him Spinning Benny.
And Benny,
So,
right.
yeah, I'm so glad the way you explained that. That was really, really nice because a lot of times people fussing about stuff and they ain't really fussing about nothing.
Man,
It ain't really
well,
nothing to fuss
right.
about.
I always say this. I'm like, first of all, even though there's the quote unquote in this newer generation, there's an emphasis on um, and I'm gonna say one thing about that, but there's emphasis on terms and things of that nature, right? There are no new terms. Like ain't no term that you're gonna do that haven't been done already, right? It's just a manner in which you do them, right? It's your style with that particular movement that makes it look a certain way for you. That's where style comes into play. So there's no new terms. It ain't like, oh, we doing something that little Alfred and them and that y'all ain't did before. It's not that. So, this notion that, oh, we doing it. No, this is something that's already been done before. Ain't no new terms in this. It's the same terms. It's just a different way and a different speed at times in which we're doing. So there's
And the
nothing.
music is really the dictator on that, on how it's
Yeah,
done. And
exactly. Exactly.
people always forget some of the outside influences that came to Chicago. One of the greatest dancers who was recognized in Chicago wasn't born here. He was not a Chicagoan, but we revered and we bowed down to every time his name was said.
Hmm. And who was that? Which person?
Mr. Calvin Barnes.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah.
was from New York, and Calvin introduced the salsa turns, all that stuff. He incorporated in the Chicago style of bopping. He did that. He did
But
that. He was
and that's what I
first.
mean. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That's what I mean by that. Because if you look at anybody who knew Calvin, and you look at his style, there was a certain flair that was his. That's his style.
Man, that mambo and
That-
all that stuff he used to do. Calvin in a bop. He could do it off of my favorite person from the OJs. Calvin could hit a turn and turn a woman 3 times. I said, "Whoa!" I was through.
right.
I never attempted to do that or nothing because that was his, and I would play the music. I would play that particular song just so I could see
Just
him
to see
move.
him do it. Right. Yeah.
Oh man, look at
Right.
this dude here.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and that's I'm glad that these things are coming out this way, so people can actually uh get to understand better the the entire comprehensive culture of what we've done with this dance. First of all, let me say this, and I honor you and Tick Man and uh the gentleman who, man, I don't know why I keep forgetting his name. They said he was the founder of the 8 count. That's uh yeah, he did the 8 count. He had
You talking
structure.
about what you talking about? Hold on, because he used to give the set over at
LC
the.
Henderson. LC Henderson. That's it. Him,
Okay.
all Donnie Davis, all the guys that have moved the dance forward, and even up to the creation of that video, Step in the Name of Love,
Hmm.
that really sent the dance all over, the country, and it sent it to the world. So that's really cool. I really appreciate that because that gives me now the opportunity to educate on the total culture of the Chicago style. And so I'm like loving this opportunity now. So it's come at a cost. I was called a 85-year-old mofo. Uh
So, hey, look, let me tell you what's funny about that is
Yeah,
because remember our first interaction,
yeah.
because at that particular point in time, like there was so much controversy, and I'm like, some of this can be resolved with just a conversation, you know,
Absolutely.
i.e., your name of your platform, what I'm saying,
Absolutely.
conversations, right?
Absolutely.
And if we don't have these conversations, and we just take it upon us to assume that a person is one way or another, we're gonna stay divided and separated, right? I didn't know you personally, but we had a conversation and a great conversation. And then from that, now we have a rapport. We don't always have to agree. We don't always have to disagree, but we have a rapport and a respect now that we can interchange vocabulary with one another, and be in the same place with one another and still show love and gratitude for one another and go on about your business. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to agree with a person, and you don't necessarily have to disagree. But
Listen,
you don't never know that without a conversation.
listen, I got a friend of 55 years, right? You know him, Michael Dabney, right?
Yeah.
So when we was in high school in the 70s, 71, 72, Claudel was going to Limblom. Michael was doing all them turns. Mike could turn, he could do any kind of whatever it was. I looked at Michael, I say, man, I ain't never doing that. I ain't never doing I said, if I have to turn, I ain't gonna dance. And I never embraced it. I'm not against anybody else doing it, even though I said I came up with the acronym. It got me in trouble too, or the number when I said 9,870.
870. Right.
that that
Right.
that got me in a whole lot of trouble. But even in the 70s, and I say this again, it ain't history, ain't nothing new under the sun. It's just being repeated. The
Right.
Whispers made a song, and I can't think of it, but they said a broken clock is right twice a day. So
Yes.
I'm gonna leave that one right there. So, but
Right.
it's been some questions coming in. So I don't all this my maturity in the dance. Once I got out of my feelings and realized that when I came in as a shorty, the elders allowed me room
Yes.
un- until I got out of pocket.
Right.
When I got out of pocket, I got pulled to the side. Some of y'all can't be pulled to the side. you know,
Oh,
so
I totally agree. I
you know,
totally
some
agree.
and so without without a without a focus towards or without a uh continuance of a rite of passage, there's
Mhm.
always going to be some type of confusion. So
Be-
maybe
before you answer one of those questions, let me just say this about that, right?
go ahead.
Because if we just look at this and all of this comes back around. It's full circle, right? If you don't want the people that's coming behind you to be better than you need to just get on out the way completely. Because if that's the case, if we just made it about you and your family, so that's just like saying you don't never want your nephews, your nieces, your kids to be better than you are. You just want to be at the top forever until you die, and nobody should come before you or after you. That makes no sense. So somebody has to be, and you should want somebody to be an extension of you that you can say, hey, I invested into, I gave them all that I had so that they could be better. And that's not just in stepping, that's just in life, period. But
Absolutely.
in this day and time, the issue is, and I'm going to say it if nobody else wants to say it, the issue is in our Chicago community, where it originated from for our Chicago style stepping, the a lot of the elders do not want to allow for themselves to then step to the side and let the next generation continue on. They want to remain relevant in any and everything that they can and not allow for another generation to come after them. That will never work. You will continue to make a gap and there will continue to be a separation. And then you will continue to have them have attitudes and have disdain for you. That's what's going to happen. And you're not going to get anywhere by separating the two. There has to be some transformation in which you give to the next generation so that they can continue on. Thus, just like you just said, the continuance of the dance. That has to happen. What the next generation, again, just like we just spoke of, they're not doing nothing no different than you was doing anyway. So why not usher them in and then we can coincide and understand when it's your time to take the back seat and let your nieces, nephews, sons, cousins, daughters, and take the forefront once they are in a position to do so. That's
So
where we're falling short at.
so that's why it's important for us to define and have clarity on what rite of passage is. I tell you, one of the most uh, fulfilling and heartwarming things for me was for an elder to even talk to me. When I came in as a pup, if they said something to me, if I even got that approval, that was it. And we have to always remember that it has never been intended for our old and our young to ever be together on anything. Because if if wisdom is transferred to the youth, we'll become a greater people. So the best way to keep that from happening is to give us these false fights that we think we're supposed to be having. Because I don't care how you look at it, the dance is still, it's still gonna be, it's gonna any one of us can check out today. you know,
Right,
and
right,
this and the bar and the motion is still going, somebody gonna step in and take your place. Now, when it comes to elevating, and this is my opinion, comes to elevating what the dance should be, I'm not sure that somebody uh 25 and 30 years old is going to take it. If the dance is to be seeded in growth, then the seeds needs to be planted and watered before the young men get to be men and have their own mindset on stuff. For example, I got hit when I was a teenager. When I about this dance and what the game was. And so the elders, I never had a fight with them, and I had to I was, it was more easily for me to be shaped and molded because I was just like a piece of clay, and they could put hands on me to get me straight. But if a dude is 29 years old and he just not started learning, you ain't gonna be able to tell him nothing. you know,
yeah, yeah,
you
I
know.
get that. Hmm.
So we have to, that's when intelligence and compromise is going to have to come, because as a lot of people say, this is just really just a dance. And then we need to separate these different classifications and categories of the day. Are you a professional or are you a social dancer? I'm a
Right,
social dancer.
right.
I ain't got to compete, and I ain't trying to do nothing but be with a woman. When I that,
Hmm.
you know, that's all. That's my good time. Now, the professional dancers, the people that just they dance because they want to dance. That's their thing. What do you want? What do you want? Would you get? Excuse me. you know, I'll be through in a minute, baby. What? Thank you, sweetheart. Uh, so get out of here. Let me do it. Say hello to Mr. Maurice.
Yeah.
Hello.
Get out of here now. Let me finish doing my show. Come on. Quit
Bye.
playing.
All right, bye.
All right. So, uh, dang, you done got me all off the track.
Hey, y'all.
So she ready to get back and do her own show too. So we got the Dad and Daughter podcast. So so getting back to this dance, uh Hollywood Frank, when I went into the 50, this Saturday,
Hmm.
Frank is 80 something years old. And soon as I see him, when I go anywhere, first thing I do is go and speak to him. Soon as I came in the joint, I was at the 50. He hollered, he called for me. I didn't know he was calling. He sent somebody over there to get me, had me sit down there next to him, and he told the bartender to give him what he want and then give him another one when he gets finished with that. So I
That's
don't
what's
know
up.
if we can ever get to those little things,
Hmm.
those little things. And I'm never trying to compete with Hollywood on the dance, even at his age.
Right.
He can cut up. And I don't know if he trying to, I don't know what he's trying to do, but for him to have me come sit by him and to get me a drink, uh, we have to somehow we have to find some kind of way to do that to each other
Yes,
again.
and you're absolutely right. That's what that's what Claudel, that's what Ice Ray and them used to do to us, and bring us on the floor and say, hey, look, watch this. Come on the floor. Let's see what you got. Give us some, some confidence. Then hey, they reel you on back in. Like, all right, young fella, you're doing a little too much. Maybe you going back on the side. Let us go on back to doing how we was doing. But that was a part of showing us that hey, you can come in this space and we can coincide.
Hmm.
But you have to have some form of humility. And
Hmm.
like you say, it's hard for these people that are coming into the dance now to have a lot of humility when half of them think that they got it before they got it anyway.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But
I get out their way, man. If that's like to me with a truck with no brakes, go on, man. I'm gonna pull off
I'm,
to the
I'm,
side. I'm
I'm,
gonna stop.
I,
I'm gonna let,
I do the same thing. I do the
yeah.
same thing, right?
I'm
I do the same thing.
this.
You said somebody had some questions. I see somebody
Yeah.
throw my name. I can't
Oh
really
yeah,
tell what
hey,
it is.
Maurice, how do you feel about the dance today? Keith Hubbard had that up there for a long time.
Keith, oh, what's up, Keith? That's my man, Keith. Keith. Um, so the dance today, although I embrace it, I feel like the dance is watered down. I really feel like when you look at the dance in whole, um, for what that they for what they're trying to create on the dance floor, they have a lot of creativity, but it's misplaced, right? And what I mean by that is, um, they're trying to do so much that they don't understand that sometimes simplicity gets the job done just as well. And we just showed that in that contest, right? In that contest, and majority of the contests that I danced in, I didn't do 1,000 turns. My footwork and maneuvering around the dance floor is what I did because I knew when I was going to hit a certain turn here and there, how that felt when the music made me do it, and then I moved on. It wasn't about just trying to do everything all at once. And right now, I feel like the dance is just about, and let me just be candid, right? Because I call it like I call it, like it or not. Majority of the men just want to imitate what they see, but they don't have a foundation to do it, right? The women just want to be cute, but majority of them cannot dance, and neither the men nor the women want to put the work in. They just want it right now. So they'd rather look raunchy and fast and bouncing around because they want to be seen more so than, man, I'm good at what I do. And I can still look good at the same time. They would prefer to just just look raunchy and be out here just doing whatever instead of actually learning to dance. And the men would just rather be twisting and turning and jerking the women around instead of having some grace and being able to decipher between this woman right here. I need to hold a little bit more, dance a little bit more classy with this woman over here. Yeah, there's some women like a lot of turns. That's what they like. Give them what they want. But there's a manner in which you can do that too. But they don't have no difference. The men and the women dance just like this, straight on across. Ain't no change of pace. Ain't no change of style. All they know how to do is do this. If you put on "Teach Me How to Love," they wouldn't know how to dance off of it. You see what I'm saying? They wouldn't have no understanding how to dance off of "My Baby" Diana Ross. They wouldn't know how to dance off the Shy Lights. They like they don't know how to dance like that because they don't know what pace and rhythm is. They just know 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all they know. And when you ask them to add something in between there, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
But you
because
know
you don't
some,
have no foundation.
but you know some, and you said that you saying that, and then uh I'm like saying to myself, and I'm not saying this to you, but all the instructors wreaking all this havoc on the stuff in the way that they've been teaching it, cause there's no standardized format on what the dance or how the dance should be. So, cause it's like, cause it's one thing that I'm noticing, right? And I'm hearing these DJs, and it's like these DJs got a mindset that they got to play an hour and a half of up tempo music before they play something slow.
Well, see here. So here's the thing, right? Um, when it comes to that, I don't really blame it all on the DJs, right? Because in order for the DJs to play the music and to stay up there, we got to stay on the floor, right? You have so many DJs that swear up and down that they're jamming because the floor is packed.
Right.
Well, let's just take this into perspective, right? It's 1,000 people in here. They gonna dance to whatever if they ain't been out. They gonna dance to whatever if they dancing with the person they want to dance with, like it or not, right? You're gonna get more songs that you like more so than the ones that you don't. But that don't mean that you jamming. Now, again, I'm gonna take up more so for the DJs in some aspects, but it's 50-50, right? When I used to tell this all the time to, hey, when you're a DJ, you don't always have to be playing all the time. Sometimes you just need to go and listen. And I don't mean listen to what you're playing. Go listen to something else that you're not playing. Because in your mind, repetition becomes a constant in what you play. So you used to putting this song behind this song because that's what you do. You know that that song works behind that, so you're gonna tend to play that. Especially if at some point in time you get a little rushed, somebody talking to you while you're at the DJ booth, you got to put something right back on. Oh, I put this song behind this already before I know it's gonna go. You go right to that song. But what I used to do is I played all kind of type of music. So it was always an inspiration to find something new, right? And right now we be so afraid to offend the person that you see in the crowd, and you just only gonna play this certain type of music at a certain point in time, or you get the promoters, and I blame a lot of this on the promoters too. Instead of saying, "Hey, look, this is what I would like to play at my set because I know my crowd," you, that's one thing, but then forcing the DJ to be in a box and tell him, "Oh, you can only play this," then what you bring me here for,
Mm.
right? So we got three folds in the community right now as it relates to the music and to the dance. So we have to take all into account. It ain't just one person. It ain't just the DJ. It ain't just the promoter. It's a combination of all three. But in order for us to keep pushing the dance forward, we have to have some, again, like you say, some continuum of the dance and of the culture, so that you know. And I'm just say this one thing, right? As it relates to the teachers and things of that nature, I've continuously made this point, right? If you can be a regular teacher that comes in, and for most people, when they just teachers, let's just say, I'm just using as an example. This is not per se any one person or what have you, but I break it up. If you got teachers, um, well, I'm gonna start off with instructors first, right? So instructors are people that you can have that you say, hey, look, I'm gonna show you what to show these people, right? And they may have a little bit of knowledge of it, but you all they doing is showing the people what you showed them, or they learn from somebody, so they just repeating that. They're gonna show the next person what the person that taught them. They're gonna show it to the next person. That can be an instructor, right? Then you have a teacher. So let's just say teacher is like on a high school level, that mid grade level, 7 through 12, right? So a teacher may give you two or three variations, and they say, okay, hey, I know how to do it. I'm gonna show you two or three variations for your learning capability, and you can try to pick it up from there. I was taught this way. I understood it. Now I can translate it two or three different ways to you. That's a teacher. Then there's, and like in your case, then there's a professor, right? The professor is the ultimate because now they look at the person and they find out what their learning attributes are and how they receive and process information. And then they say, okay, what I know to do for your particular learning style, I'm going to show you how to do it from that perspective. That's a professor. I can break it down like I can break it down from an instructor. I can take it from a teacher's perspective. Now I can give you the ultimate based off of your learning ability, and I can give it to you that way. That's the ultimate. The majority of the people that are out here now are instructors. They are not teachers, nor are they professors. They are instructors. They are only repeating the cycle as they were taught. They don't have no ability to break down. They have no ability to decipher. They're just showing what they have learned, and majority are that. There are very few professors and more of instructors and a good number of teachers.
Yeah,
And that's where it is.
you talking about the articulation of the dance.
That's correct. And
Uh,
how we are giving the dance to the newer people that are coming into it. That's really what it is. And
yeah.
that's why it's watered down now.
Hmm.
Right? And I look at it, the dance is basically an interpretation of your personality and who you are. But there's always foundation. And this is where I always tell when we have these discussions about older and younger, is because there's so much separation, right? And if if a person comes to me and say, "Hey, I want to learn," and they like, "Well, I want to know how to do this turn," right? Okay, well, we still gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to teach you the basics so that you can work your way up to that. You ain't gonna just be able to skip forward to just being able to do all these turns. That's not how it goes. They still gonna have to learn some foundation. You still gonna have to learn some history. It's just the way it is.
Hmm.
So
So
that's just my little piece.
but that's cool because, like I said, uh, this is very informative and interesting to me because I draw a blank on the 90s and the 2000s. I didn't come back till 2018. And I
That's a
wasn't
long
gonna
time,
come
right?
back. I wasn't gonna come back then, but my wife wanted to come. So that was the only reason why. Because I got up to here. I didn't care. I just did not care. I could live a life without ever, being at a stepper set again. Cause once you've seen it, you gonna you're gonna keep seeing the same thing. Ain't nothing new under the sun.
Right,
Okay. So, you just let people be and let them do. But getting back uh on the musicality or the way steppers in my iteration of being a stepper's job, you know, uh we would play change the tempo in the set like every 20 minutes or every 25 minutes. It all depend on what the DJ or what the picture that he was trying to create in the set.
right,
Sometimes you'll set up, you setting up, you'll play the fast music to set up the walk and run,
right.
because I'm just trying to figure out when did we all just start just dancing one way?
Yeah, I mean, I from the time in which I came in, I think that there was a combination of the both, right? Now, as far as maneuvering over into walking, um, I think there had been so much push towards the music being able to translate to more of a crossover generation to a certain degree that um, to me, I feel like some of the classics, and things of that nature were just not being played as much, and it just kind of catered to we want R and B and above, unless you went to certain people's set. Everybody know if you go to Good Time Productions, what type of music you gonna get. Everybody know, hey, you might get a little of both when you go to Rose set. Everybody know that you're gonna get back in the day when Breeze was here, rest in peace. You went down to Deja Vu, you knew you was gonna get a combination of everything, you know. When Mellow Chris DJ, you know you're gonna get a straight across the board some of everything when you listening to, to him DJ. So, you know, we still have to embrace what it is to slow down in the dance, because I don't want to be dancing 100 miles a minute all night. Like nobody want to be walking around sweating all night. That I don't. I don't. I definitely don't want nobody trying to be all hugged up or walking with, and they sweating. That ain't gonna happen.
So I'm gonna tell you. So when I came back on the scene and I witnessed that to the point where it was like a norm. I went into a culture shock. I was like, I'm wondering what had happened to the dance. And so in my discovery, in my journey, I learned about Dre and Company and DJ Cross and the impact that they had,
Mm,
on changing it. And then I learned the impact of some other people, and then the fact that my generation, or where we are, we're getting older now.
right,
I'm hitting 70. I'll be 70 next year, right? So
right.
whether we want to or not, we gonna get replaced. you know,
Sooner
we
or later, right.
we going out. But listen, I'm gonna tell you, it's like it's one doctor. I can't think of his name, but I just love to see him when he out on the set. And then there was another brother that I used to work with, and he was cousin to my guest last week, Little Lloyd. It was a gentleman by the name of Ed Banks who worked at
Mm,
the post office. Ed danced till he was about 90 something years old. Long as he could get out there, he was always dancing. And
right.
I think the trueness of the social partner dance thing for us has always been the embrace of everybody in the set. A little bit of something that I know. I never went to the dungeon.
Mm,
I don't know nothing about that. But I know a lot of people that came out of the dungeon. So when you talked about earlier and when we began this conversation, when you talked
right.
about the clubs, stepping in the club, sandpipers, stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
I was on that circuit too. Because before I could even get in the uh on the stepper scene, I was like almost every club everywhere. I was, man, if you had a party and I had a party, we'll travel. I would come in there and I would do my thing. So what people, and you said it earlier in the game, you said that before the sets and stuff, we had always been bopping, stepping, and walking, in the clubs.
Mm,
That was always. Then Sam Chapman had his crew, and then there was the crew with Black Mary and them, the Dancettes. Uh,
mm. And
uh,
there also was a crew with where like Bishop One and them had their crew too that
they
did
was
their
on,
own parties as well.
yeah, they was
Right.
on the west side. They
Right.
but and Sam was theirs.
Mm,
So Sam was the calling card DJ on them. So Sam is very, 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 very instrumental because he, like Herb Kent, catered to legions of steppers. Okay. Some people started with Sam when they were like 12 and 13 years old. Okay. I mean, period. And some people started with her like when they were like me, when they were 9, 10 years old,
mm,
listening to him. So we didn't all meet until that first world's largest stepping contest in 1989. That's
okay.
when that's when the first meeting came, when the new boppers, Sam Chapman and them, his crew, had met Cheryl Jackson, Dimples, and Marzette. That was the other side. And then, like when you just said earlier, like after the High Steppers, which was a social club Black Night, the High Steppers, they ushered in a new period that
Right.
as the dance had moved and progressed, was
Progress.
progressing
Right.
forward. You understand? There's nothing new. It was progressing. Okay.
Right.
To because of the new blood that had been infused into the dance. Whenever new blood comes in, it's going to be some type of changes. But the one thing, and I will say this, I agree with Daryl Davis 100% on this. He says bopping is the original dance, stepping is the popular name. They are both the same dance. The difference is in how the numbers are manipulated. So the manipulation of the numbers for the new style of dancers, or I mean
Right.
for the next generation of dancers, went from 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? That was
Right.
that thing. But for me, it was kick, kick, cross, cross, which
Cross,
was
cross.
1,
Right.
2. So what
Right.
happened was the 7, 8 replaced the 1, 2, but it's
Right.
basically the same dance. So the 7, 8 allows you to get into those turns and stuff what Blackwell likes, and so which is cool. But basically, it's the same dance. The
Mm-hmm.
numbers were shifted to do something else. So, but all of that came from the from what
Mm-hmm.
Mama and them used to do, which was called the bop.
Right.
Ultimately, for me, and I don't see that today, uh, in the next generation style of dancing. Uh, for most of the elders, we do all three of them. We don't separate them, making bopping, stepping, and I'm bopping, stepping, and walking. We can all do the same dance from that single move. And we
Right.
even got the off-time slow bop. But
Right.
in the current iteration, and I said this last week, they done dropped the G off of step in and they made it step in. So when you do just step in,
Right. Oh yeah.
so when they do just step in, that's all that dancers can do. Because then when you tell them walking, that's like, what you talking about? When for me, and for some of the other elders that it's still the same for us.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we get do we keep step in separate, or do we merge them all? How do we become dancers in this generation? How do we become dancers again? Because I think Dave Max was talking about that the other day. But how do we become dancers in your
Well,
eyesight?
I mean, that's I can relate that to current generation of young folks in the same aspect is because you can't become dancers without a good strong foundation. You can't manipulate a beat that you don't know and you don't recognize and you can't hear it. How you gonna manipulate something you don't understand,
Mhm,
right? But um, there's not there isn't just necessarily one way to get there. You can get there multiple ways,
mhm,
but you still have to get there. And you got to put the work in, right? And I think it can happen with a conglomerate of people. You know, you can learn from this person, you can learn a little bit from that person, learn a little bit of history from people such as yourself. You can learn a few steps from people such as yourself, then you get a few from other over here. That's what we did. You know, we didn't just get it all from one person. You know, I changed my style 3 times before it what I am right now, right? There was the beginning me where I incorporated my own steps. And then when I saw something different that I wanted to add to it, then I added it. And then when I got to a certain point where I was in that, I'm like, okay, I want this to be in my dance. Then ultimately it became what I am now. That's a process. But it didn't come from just one person. It came from the community, you know, and that's how I got here. Right now we want to bypass the community and just say we just want this to be this. That's never going to be an outcome. You can get that. That may happen one out of 1 in 100,000 times where you get that type of individual. There, and I keep saying this. There's a reason why there was only one little Alfred, one Ty Skippy, one Casper. Rest in peace, all of them. You understand what I'm saying? There was a reason why. There's a reason why there's only one Andre Blackwell, one Tick Man, one Dave Max, one Drew Alexander. There's a reason why, right? So you can't always use the LeBrons of the world to make your case because that's not a good baseline to go off of. That's an anomaly. So the best thing that you can do is work hard and try to get there instead of trying to skip there. And that's what we're missing, right? We can take and then we go back to the same thing I said earlier. If if instead of being envious of the young folks and seeing what they have, and some of them you just can't get through. We understand that ain't no different. Some people you just can't talk to. They think they know it all. They're not in receivership of anything but their own mindset. But if the older people would then say, "Hey, let me embrace you, young fella. I like what you're doing, but let me add this to what you're doing, or just take this as an example." Then those they will have a little bit more respect and allow for a little bit more information to come their way instead of you just saying, "I don't like what you're doing. You know that ain't how we used to dance." They're not gonna take kindly to that, and that's not gonna that's and to them you talking sarcastic. So it's things like that doesn't allow for that to happen.
Well, listen, I stopped talking to the youngins, and I ain't mad at them. I don't want them to be mad at me, because I'll give you the game because the game was given to me. When Lonnie Clark pulled me to the side and would let me know,
Lonnie
sir,
Clark.
yes, yes, sir, yes,
Man,
sir,
hey, that was my man.
yes, sir, yes, sir,
Oh my God,
yes,
that was
sir.
my man.
I had his phone number. Called when I was in DC, I was calling him. We would talk hours.
Yes,
He would talk, giving me the game. And listen, if you want to listen, okay. If you don't want to listen, but I tried to give. I passed. Trying to pass the baton to a young pup, and a pup want to try to compete with me. I'm gonna just tell you right now. I don't care who you is and what you doing. If Reggie Miles is dancing, he's still gonna be seen too. Cause it's one thing I know for sure: can't no brother dance with all women all the time. There's always gonna be some women for me.
right. Especially in this community.
Man,
Oh,
you better get out of my face with what you think you have in your ego. Cause
right.
the only thing about the game is that the names done changed, but the game is still a game. I left this thing for 26 to two and a half
Decades.
decades. You
Yes.
understand? I came back and it was nothing new.
Yes.
Nothing new. Only thing it's more women, and the sad part about it is that I'm older now. I hate that.
So let me ask you a question though, Reggie.
Go
And
ahead.
this is a question, and actually I would ask Keith the same question, right? Let me ask. So this is my question. With what you see now, do you see Stepman dying off, or do you see it continuing to grow?
No, it's listen. Now it depends on how you what are you defining growth as? Okay,
So
'cause
you want
what?
me to,
Yeah,
since I asked the question, let me define it, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
my definition of growth in this community is seeing an influx of people that are gravitating to the culture and the dance and that are carrying it on generation to generation. That's what my definition of growth is. And that means that we should see more people on a yearly basis migrating into stepping and thereof.
Okay, so the only I would answer that in saying that the dance has to be seated among the teenagers. It has to be seated there because I don't think that no cat, 25. I don't think once you grown, you understand. You whatever it is, you coming in here for a different agenda. But and I take this from my experience. I was seated at 16, 17 years old. When I found out what this was and what the lady, that's when I wanted to deal with it. But the music, listen, we don't have control over the music like we want, like we should have control. Because when I came into the game, right, it was easier for me because most of the music was about love and relationships. The
I
music
agree.
the music that our kids are listening to now is like
It's
garden tools,
ratchet.
garden tools, female dogs, drug
It's,
dealing,
it's
abuse,
ratchet.
and uh, so what we're going to have to do is find a way to put it in the elementary and high schools. We're gonna have to find a way to make that a part of our culture. Like in the city of Philadelphia, you understand, they have a city dance called the Philly Bop. That's their dance of the entire city. They get that in the schools and everything in the culture. So the culture has to be seeded early. Okay. And along the way, as these young men get older, we have to show them better instances, and that's not my generation. That's the cats that's on the throne now. The
Hmm.
guys that's on the throne now, you guys that's under 50 and y'all doing y'all thing, y'all got to reel these young boys in. Y'all got to reel them in and let them know what time it is. And see, until we can get some balance on what socializing and the competitive nature of it, because some cats don't want to compete. Some of the greatest dancers to have ever danced, they never got into the contest, man.
Right,
'Cause,
right,
you know, Calvin Bonds was never in no contest. Ice Ray ain't in no contest.
right.
You know, plenty cats. Bumpy Face Slim never got into no contest. Romeo, well, they did contests among themselves, but in the world's largest wasn't around for them. But it's just we gotta find out the difference and reshape it, the professional and social parts of it. See, because the professional part, the commercial part has come in and it's set people making a lot of money now. They making money.
I disagree.
You don't think they're making a lot of money?
No, they're not.
Okay, I mean, well, not
So I mean, let's. And the reason why, and I'll go back to the point. The reason why I asked that is because all of those dynamics that you just named about the music, the culture of embedding it in our kids and teenagers and this, that, and the other. That's becoming more and more difficult to do. We can't even keep the schools teaching regular curriculum outside of sport and um, non-educational tools like dance and art and things like that. Those are being stripped from the schools. So
absolutely.
that
So
that's these things that we're referring to are going to have to come from within the home.
well,
And
we gonna have to fight for that. We're gonna have to fight for that. But
yeah, but that need to start at home first.
okay, so let now and I don't know if the generations have passed this or will we ever get this, but at the home sets, now if some of these home sets now, all you gonna hear is Biggie and Tupac and you gonna hear but
Right,
you're not gonna be at too many of the home sets now where you gonna hear some blues or you going one of the uncles gonna tell you, man, you see, I'm trying to talk to this girl, you ain't gonna get
right,
that. It's going
right.
and so our time of being in the home is different from the time of being in the homes today. So that's why conversations is important, capturing or histories, and us telling our stories about what we used to do is paramount.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
paramount. It is
And that's
paramount.
why I asked that question. Right. That's why I asked that question.
Yeah, it's
Um,
paramount. So I
yeah.
listen. I don't disagree with it. I don't. I'm not into. I'm not like I said. Let me make this really clear. I'm not caring about what young people do. Cause whatever y'all do, just make sure y'all set it up for the people that's behind you can pick it up.
Right.
Cause somewhere, and I didn't get this. I didn't make this up, or no other elder, no person, old person that's mad that said none of that. But it was a person, a prominent person from y'all's generation said that y'all dropped the ball. That the ball was dropped from the 96 era on. And I
Mm.
and the reason why I believe that might be a possibility is because the dance became commercial. We used to get a dance for free. We used to give it for free, teaching the dance for free. But it's commercial now. So all you have to do is win a contest. Or all you gotta do is say I was in the preliminaries. And then
He's gonna be an instructor, right?
y'all you got and then here's the thing about preliminaries, right? Or the preliminaries it's for everybody to get in. They not no it's no betting in the preliminaries. Everybody goes to get in that. You in that preliminary. You're
Right.
gonna you're gonna be in the contest. And so people are going around, acting like that's supposed to be a badge of honor. And the next thing you know, they're saying they got their own class and doing this. So until there are some standards set, by a body of individuals, elders, mids, and youth, ain't nothing gonna happen
Hmm.
because everybody has to be brought to the table. The people in the middle have to understand that they're gonna take the elders' place, and the people on the other end, the youngins gonna have to know they're gonna have to take the middleman's place. And so it's the
Right.
youngins gonna have to keep bringing somebody in until we get that concept of what that rite of passage is. We're gonna always have this problem. We
Right.
had this problem. So it's things that we've been doing that we just forgot. I had a good, nice question from Wise Cat. Let's see. Somebody had a nice good one. Let me get it. Let's see, what is this? Let's see what she says. Is it safe to say that calling the dance the game causes people to play with it as such? String string people along for $20 a class. Have you in class for years and you still stay stagnant. After all of that, they talk about you for counting or still being basic. We really put a lot of time and money in learning and being humble. I could go on and on, but I'll leave it there. And you say to this unique.
Okay, so that's again, that's two folds, right? Because when unless you were a child when you came into this, the part of the responsibility is on your shoulders. If you know you're not being led in the direction that you asked to go or would like to go, then at some point in time, then you have to raise your hand and say, "Hey, where are we going?" If you just riding on the bus and you ain't never asking where you going, then you're gonna get led and taken to a spot that you didn't know that you were going. That's just what's gonna happen. Now, the other thing is, um, in this day and time, you need to vet. Just like you go and you search and research when you want to go to an Airbnb, you need to research when you want to go to somebody's class to learn something, right? You need to look at their history. You need to look up, some methods that you see or listen to them talk. Maybe get some questions from someone else, and then still, if you decide to choose to go to that person to gather instructions, you tell you like my dad used to tell me, you take everything with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? You spit out the fat, chew the meat, spit out the fat, right? As an adult, part of that responsibility lies with you, right? So you can't go. Well, I'm gonna speak for myself. I can't go to your class, and I've been doing the same thing for 2 years, and then I'm gonna say it's mostly on you. No, I'm a functioning adult, and I have to take some of that responsibility. After so long, it's on me. And then here's the other caveat to that, right? You can't just make statements and questions like this without adding the context. Because I can go to somebody's class for 2 years and say, hey, they mad at me for I'm still counting this, that, and the other. But did you say that you didn't come to class every week when you had a baby? So you was gone for 6 months. Your job schedule changed, so you was coming on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Now you only coming one Saturday out of the month for the last 6 months, and then yet you trying to hold the instructor accountable for all the absences that you had. We can't do that. There's always additional context, but just to be specifically clear, with that person in that question, some of that responsibility has to fall on you, right? And you need to vet these people just like you would if you was going and you was trying to spend your money on a particular product or service. You're gonna go look at the reviews. You're gonna ask the question, and still, when you buy it, you're gonna test it out. If it ain't what you want, either you know you ain't gonna buy it again, or you gonna return it. Start treating these people as such.
Yes. All right. So please put up those questions and what do you have any statement that you're making. We doing good, Maurice. We ain't even fighting or nothing, man.
That was gonna
Yeah, yeah, ain't even no controversy or nothing, man.
happen.
We just talking. We just have
Yeah,
we having a
that's gonna
discussion.
happen.
That's a beautiful thing. Next week is gonna be DJ Vell.
DJ Vale, I had him down here for my event, Fade to Black. That's my man there.
And so we gonna talk about your event. We're gonna talk about you and you moving forward, what you're doing. So we're gonna get a chance to get into that. But yeah, I mean, the DJs that I hold at the top of my list now are Bell and Calvin,
Yeah,
and
I love Calvin.
you know,
That's my man.
any guy that can switch that does not have a problem with dropping some walking music and then going back to packing the floor, I don't have no problem. Cause I don't have no problem with that, But if you got to play an hour and a half of up tempo music all the time, and I'm looking at all these pretty ladies and I can't get my arms around them, I got a problem with you. So I won't even come. You know,
Ah.
I won't even come. See, cause I don't I ain't gonna come. I ain't gonna mention your name. I ain't gonna say nothing. Look, talking about walking, let's do this here. Let's
Okay,
let's
go ahead. Yeah, let's get it.
let's let's do this right here.
Let's get it.
Let me bring this thing up. Let me share this screen because I got it. Because I saw this one here and I said, yeah, let's go. I got to talk about this one because you did a move on here. And so let's share the screen. And yeah, there you go. Hold on. Yeah, let's pull it up. There you go. And
Oh, when I was walking with Tina.
yeah, that's my girl Tina. So let's see if I could just hit it. I don't play the music because I don't
Right,
want
yeah.
to flag
hmm
digital rights, on YouTube.
So
Now,
then, go ahead.
I'm gonna win. It's gonna get to be a part because this see
I
y'all
know
was
what you're talking about. Yeah, I
yeah,
know when I did the little drop, when I did the little
yeah,
drop down.
yeah. So, but it was like I thought this was like close quarters, but y'all was getting out. Look at you presenting and all this old kind of stuff. Oh, there it is. Oh, here it come. Then she got the booty and stuff. I'm saying, "Oh my god." And then and that's what killed me right there. That got me, boy. But
That's funny.
but
When I
that's
see that, yeah.
yeah, she got the booty and stuff and all that kind of stuff. I said, "Oh, look at this here." But, that's com that's competition dancing, ain't it?
Right, that's what that is. Right.
Yeah.
So
What's
I,
the
you
difference?
know, I'm gonna be honest. When I look at that, right? So, when for me, competition is different from what you would do in a regular environment,
Thank
right?
you. Thank you.
And some people have to understand that there's in competition there's a level of exaggeration that needs to happen in order for you to do it, but you can still keep some base ground, in what you're doing and the originality of it, right?
Yes, yes.
When you look at that video, and then if you look at the video from this is 2023 from 2021 when I danced when I walked with Shani, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I can bring that one up. Go ahead. Keep talking.
um, when you look at the difference, right? So this is what I've learned, and I'm actually utilize you in this aspect, right?
Go ahead, go ahead.
So so when we talking about where the dance is going, and we don't hear enough walking music, right? So
Right,
we're trying to bridge the gap between the elders and the young folks, and we're trying to be able to coexist sometimes in the same space, right?
okay.
So when we come to the thought of, hey, how are we going to get these younger people to embrace walking, let alone stepping, but embrace walking and want to come to a party and participate, not just in the quote unquote stepping part of it, but even though it's still stepping, the walking part of it as well, right? So for me, back in the day, and I had mentioned this early, like um, when I was learning to walk, and I was looking at people like Magic Mike, which was one of my mentors. When I was walking with like Lady Jerry, she was one of the people that was instrumental in showing me how to walk and hold a woman and what the pressure felt like and how to move. Um, she was very instrumental in that, and Tina was very instrumental in
Wilson,
teaching.
Tina Renee or Tina Wilson?
Tina Renee Moore was
Mhm.
instrumental in me learning what that felt like and what the steps was like, was very instrumental in that. But what I wanted was the ability to, you know, it, you can always embrace. That's the best part about it, being able to hold them and just get that stride and that movement and feeling that every move you make, they make, right? But for me being younger, I wanted to be able to have a little bit of creativity in that, not where it just totally removed what we were doing in the structure of walking, but it allowed me to then take that freedom of expression and then still be able to move in that embrace with the woman. So when you look at when I danced with Tina and I walked with her, comparison to when I walk with Shani, right? You can see the baseline maneuvers, but then you also saw uh, the flair in the contest form of what I was trying to do to then entice the younger folks to be like, okay, I like the music, I like the walking, but I want to do that too. So if we could do a little of that, then I'm fine. I can do that, you know. Um, and that was my sole purpose in doing that. Some people got all in their feelings about it, whatever the case may be. Um, but it really was just to show that um, we can be a little creative without getting completely out of the box and still have that be enticing enough to grab some of these young folks and allow for them to experience the walking music and the stepping music per se
Mhm.
in the same fashion. So that's the main reason, which is the only reason I got into the walking contest, was just to show that we can add some creativity to it and still stay within certain realms of the original style of walking, and that's the reason why I got into contests. Other than that, I wouldn't have got into it. That very year, I thought that um, Bobby and Sherry Gordon did an excellent job walking, and I felt that they should have won. Um, for me, I looked at my dance as it was just an exhibition dance, which is
Uh-huh.
what my point was.
Uh,
Um,
I listen. I already know. I know that. I I understand that. I
yeah,
understand
yeah.
that.
Because again, when you're on that stage, you need to have something, to get the people engaged in what you feel and what that feels like to you.
So that's what when you did that move, that turning like that. You see that lady's hand go up clapping like that. You see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Let me go on and run that back right quick. Let me just run that back. I'll just run it back right quick. See, cause see that see watch the hand. See, that's that wow.
Uh-huh. Right.
That's a wow.
Yeah.
So people crazy about that. But socially, socially, uh
Hmm.
it's not that's not the same dance because
Right.
you ain't gonna have enough room to be
You could
doing
do
all
all that.
that.
Yeah. Right.
So that's a good thing. And so there's other ways to improvise it. So question for you. Uh
Hmm.
you say Magic Mike was your mentor or
He,
someone that
he was.
you like.
Yeah, he was one of. Yeah, he was one of my mentors.
Who else did you like walking? Or do that you had
Um.
walking?
Um. I liked. I did like Calvin Barnes walking.
Mhm.
I used to watch Calvin down at Deja Vu sets all the time.
Mhm.
He was one of the people that I looked at.
You know Calvin Calvin couldn't walk when he was first in Chicago. You know that, don't you?
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know Calvin when he first came to
Oh, yeah.
Chicago.
I know you didn't know, but when he hit the reason, one of the reasons why he stayed here in Chicago, because he wasn't a walker, and
Oh, okay.
he wanted to master that dance.
Yeah. I used to like when Dimples walked,
Okay.
because Dimples always added a little flair to it. I don't care. I don't care what Dimples doing. She gonna add something to it.
Yes.
I like when Daryl Davis walked.
Okay.
So the top two for me was Magic Mike, Daryl Davis. As far as the men, again, Lady Jerry for me was one of my people that I watched walked very much so. Um, I can't think of the other lady name that I walked. I like when Black Mary walked. I love when Black Mary walked. She always dresses the part.
Yeah.
Like Black Mary always, it's just so dainty. It's so beautiful. She's just a beautiful woman. Her spirit just speaks before her. I just love to see her when she just dance, and I love to see her when she slow bops.
When
Like, oh my God,
have you talked to her?
Black Mary.
Or
Uh-huh.
can ask her what's her dream? Ask her to tell you Black Mary's dream. The next
Black
time
Mary. Okay.
ask her to tell you what the dream is, because their social club, actually their social club, they came out doing what they did to protect our culture
Hmm.
against disco.
Okay.
They did that to preserve our music, our style of dance, and the way our DJs played the music. That's
Okay.
what their social club was about. And you could tell. Just ask her to tell you what Black Mary's dream is. I got to get her and have her come on the show and say it. I recorded her saying it, but I need her to come on the show and say that. But
Yeah.
that's what her, Yvonne Paramore, Lula Taylor, the dance sets, and
Hmm.
a lot of people don't realize it was a lot of pioneering women who
Oh,
showed
definitely.
whose shoulders that we stand on, in addition to some of the brothers that was that had great sets. I can't think of his name. But what I do
I
it black.
definitely went, like I used to love dancing with Joyce at the High Steppers. She was one of
Mhm.
my favorite people to dance with.
Yeah.
Yeah, her and my skating buddy Desi, my big sis,
Yeah.
Desi, like me and Desi, we love dancing with each other. And a lot of people don't even know this. So me and Lily, which Leanne Round, we used to teach in the Chicago public schools together. Lily brought me on, and we went around and taught in the Chicago public schools. Chicago public libraries. I said schools. The Chicago public libraries. We was going around to the libraries teaching stepping. One thing about Lily, and I was using her as an example to one of my private um, um, students just last week, was her ability to stay so graceful, and then them feet be moving like diamonds.
Uh-oh.
Leanna just she has the ability to just move when you move, and still keep her personality and still keep her steps the way they are. And I used to mimic her steps. She used to mimic my steps. You would not know that there was. I was the young guy, and she was the elder to me. She was just as young as I was when we be dancing. That's just her character and what she brought out of every person she touched when she dancing. That woman is one of my top dancers across this country.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm really appreciative of is the respect that you have shown for elders. Even though that in your experiences, some elders have given you maybe you want to frown up and stuff like that. But you just recently at your group function, Fade
Hmm.
to Black at your event, you honored one of my boys.
Yeah, Claudia.
Yeah, and that's just and like Claudel, that high stepper group,
Right.
Claudel, Ice Ray, uh, Macaroni, Zach, Ice Rob were some very impactful brothers. And people don't know the legions of dancers that Claudel put his hands on and
Hmm.
emulated some of the things that he did. And he not no contest winner, but he's one of the greatest that the greats refer to
Right.
right off the bat. Because when we was in high school, I called him the innovator. And he learned his stuff from I met Claudel in the alley in 1970. We was playing
Mm.
basketball. But the thing I loved about his dance, or thing I loved about what he does when he dances, is that if it's none but four people on the floor, he he makes the best use of the space that he has. And then if 300 people come on the floor,
It's the
he
same
ha-
thing.
and he have to compact his space. Cardell can do everything that he wants to do.
In that space. Ooh, I
Man,
try to tell
I
people
say,
that so
I,
much.
you know, I,
Yeah.
I look at this dude and I just say, I put my hands on my head. I said, this boy is just out. He can any kind of way you want to turn, he can handle it, and he never bumps
The
and
next person,
bruises.
right.
Yeah, and you talk about maintaining a lane structure.
Right.
So that's what he does. So a lot of times now with the way these dances is, I'm just telling you, uh, when I was younger, right, and in order for me to get my rite of passage, man, I was wild, man. I would shoot, I'd get on that dance floor, man, and I went into showtime every time.
Hmm.
Until Calvin Bonds told me when we was in the El Matador. Calvin Barnes said, "Come here, boy." And like a dummy, I went over there to him. I said, "Yes, sir." He hollered at me and said, "Man, Reggie, everybody in here know you can dance." He say, "Why you doing all that? Why you doing all that? You might kick somebody." You know?
Right.
And so when I see a lot of cats and they in the kind of movements that they want to be, I'll give all the younger cats the right of way. Cause I be wanting to pull in. I don't want to get kicked in my leg or hit my ankle hit or nothing like that, or no woman with them pumps on stepping on me because the cats is doing their thing. They feeling who they want to feel.
You can say
So
it right. They're doing too much. You can say it.
yeah. So I just go ahead on and go to the other side. I look at certain cats, and one thing in the new iteration that really bothers me is that don't nobody know how to come on the dance floor and find their spot now. They just want to dance
They
all
just jump right on in.
day. I mean, what you say?
Try to walk right between you.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is going on here? And sometimes I get so mad, I'll leave. I quit, baby. I don't want to dance. I'm gone. It just busted my bubble. Cause
Right.
cause I love the fact when more people get on the floor, especially if this woman I'm dealing with and I'm getting ready to catch this vibe.
Hmm.
Means we can be close. you know, and,
Right. You tighten it up a little bit. Tighten it up a little bit. Right.
then I could go to talking smack and all this old kind of stuff. But now, man, it's like cats, they I call it peacocking. Cats want to, because when a male peacock, when
Yeah.
he want to do his thing, he,
You
he
just
open
do
up
it.
the tail, yeah.
Yeah.
And so
You
it's
do
a lot of cats open up the tail, and then I swear, I really don't see nothing different.
it. They doing it and it ain't nothing happening.
Yeah, I really don't see nothing different. So it's okay, and I'm just so glad that some of the brothers now, when I come in, they make me they'll let me cut in and stuff, and so I just do something right quick and do a move and get out the way.
Get on out the way. Right. Yeah.
But there is a lot of respect between the younger and the older dancers. All we gotta do is talk to each other, and you said that. Uh so
Hmm.
so the brother Darren, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh uh
Darren Olmer.
yeah, and he danced with
Hmm.
his Tory and stuff, but and when I saw this cat this cat, he was doing it, and so I didn't know who he was, he didn't know who I was. But we just kept dancing around one another, and we finally talked, man, and everything is cool. That's with every brother. Just, man, don't judge the book by its cover. Speak to that person and talk.
Right.
Let's see. Triple A says, yeah, you right. We'll talk about the rituals. Michael Thaddeus said, I need some history on the high steppers. Oh, really? Uh
I,
Woo! That high step. And then I got a picture of the plugger of that
you
set.
do?
I got a picture of a
Which
plug.
which one? When they was at Sarah J's or when they was over at the on Stony Island?
No, I'm talking about the Majestic Gents and the High Steppers when they got together. No, I think that was Black Tie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when that was the first big set. Uh,
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah, that was like the coming out party. So, was you around when the Step in the Name of? I mean, did were
Yeah. Yeah.
you was
Yeah.
you on that video?
No, thankfully.
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
you
Me and Dre, me and Dre Blackwell, we fight about that all the time.
say
But I get it. I that was the worst video that ever came out.
So, we'll elaborate on that in a minute. But wait
Right.
but wait a minute, that contest that you and Dre was in, who won that
Uh-huh.
contest?
I did.
Oh, you got him? Even with all the spins and turns? You got it that year?
Yes.
Oh my God. So how many contests did you win? Somebody told me, not somebody told me, but
It's
you
like
were
8.
you were one of the youngest Masters winners?
Yeah, I won right. Greg won first. Him and um, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Thanks. They were the first ones to win, and then I won it in 2000 2000, I think it was.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. But the total was like 8. I don't count the little other contests like the contest they had at Navy Pier. I don't count that. I don't count that one that nobody got paid on. I don't count that one.
They had a
I don't
contest where nobody got
count.
paid on it?
Yeah, remember we said we're not gonna do the
Okay.
controversial
All
stuff.
right, all
Right.
right, all right. So what do you
Right.
think what do you think of the contest today?
Um, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I think based off of the community, I think Pete doing a hell of a job to keep this contest going. With listen, everybody gonna always have something negative to say, but
I
they
mean,
can't never get no
that's every
solution.
year. That's every
Yeah,
year.
they can't never get no solutions to make
Yeah,
it better.
right. That's every year. It's
You know, and you
from the
can't, and
first one.
somebody got to lose. We all are winners as individuals, but
Mm,
when it comes to who gonna hold the trophy, somebody has to be the winner.
absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and again, that goes back to what I said earlier. If we did it off of crowd participation, the wrong people would be chosen every time.
Mm,
So that's the purpose of having some structure in the judges. But it's gonna be what it's gonna be. You can come back again another day. The next year and try it again.
yeah.
But I I never. I'm being honest. Like I've always said this when I've shared my story of the world's largest from my participation. Right. Um, when you get up there, there has to be something else within you to make you perform at another level. And it takes a lot for you to just get up there, but then it takes another part of you that has to come out on that stage. Not everybody is going to have that, but of course, you are a winner for getting up there because some people can't do it. But again, somebody has to win, in that aspect. But in my contest days, I never felt like I was competing against anybody.
All right, I hear
I,
that.
I looked at it as, let me see if I can do something different than I did the prior year. That was my goal. Like, all right, Reese, we on contest number 6. Okay, what can you do differently, right? Um, I used to tell this is something I did when I got on the floor. You can ask Tina, all my partners. We got on the floor. I would grab them. I did. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna start calling it the Reggie Miles embrace. I pulled them in. I embraced them, and I would always say, "Take a deep breath. I got it from here." I would always say that. Take a deep breath. I got it from here. That was my thing that I always did because the time that song dropped, I was one with the music. It did, and that's why I never looked at it as competing against somebody else because people, how people be like, man, you ain't hear us calling your name. I couldn't hear nothing you was talking about. I couldn't see you. I couldn't hear you. I'm not talking to you while I'm on the dance floor. I am one with the music. So when people usually talk about, yeah, who you competing against? I'm competing against myself because
Absolutely.
I'm trying to see if there's going to be something that I can come with in my creativity to make me outdo what I did the year before.
Absolutely.
There's no
Absolutely.
shade to nobody else. There's no disrespect to nobody else. I was not in competition with none of you. I was in competition with myself. And when you believe in yourself and the hard work you put in, you can walk up on the stage and have that same feeling. And then be able to walk off the stage and know you gave your best, win, lose, or draw, instead of being all in your feelings and thinking that it was somebody else's fault, the reason why you didn't win. That's not how that goes.
Yeah. You know that I applaud you. Peter's doing a heck of a job. Continue to do it. Let him do it. Thank you all for the love on the Reggie Miles embrace. Thank you. Question for Reese. In your opinion, why are there so many women in the dance today and not enough men compared to the 90s?
Oh, I just talked about that. Um, you gotta look at it like this. Women look at the dance as a multiple of things. Most men look at the dance for one or two things. And a man gonna come in and see, oh, it's some women here. Oh, I'm gonna do this, or I can get some notoriety, or I'm gonna do this. Very few men look at it as, man, this is something I can do and I can share and I can keep it and I continue it. You might not get to that point until later on down the line after you've been doing it a while. But the women, they're able to come in this dance and be like, hey, I'm me and my girls gonna hang out. Oh, I'm gonna get some exercise. This is time away from my kids. Oh, I just got off work, man. Instead of going I'm gonna get me a drink and I'm gonna have me a couple dances. Man, I can get out the house for a minute, get away from my husband. Or they have so many multiple ways of looking at it. And you got other thing you got to think of is a lot of women go out in groups. Men, we don't travel like that. We have one or two guys we may roll with, or we by ourselves. So when we get involved in these type of things, you know, the women coming in groups, we coming in pairs of one or two, or by ourselves. So, and most men don't do like the women do. The women go tell all their girlfriends, girl, come on, we're going to go to this class. The men be like, I ain't telling, man, listen, I got six to choose from. I'm going to see who I can get first before I tell any of my guys to come through here. That's just how men innately think. Now, it ain't necessarily right, but like you said earlier, that's the game. You know what I'm saying? That's a hundred. That's the game. And that's why it's always going to be more women than men. Outside of the natural fact that, of course, there's always going to be inherently more women than men on this
I,
earth.
I
You
don't even
know.
I don't even see why sisters even worry about that. You I mean, that's like I don't even know why you even bring that up. So what you need to do, every girl got somebody hitting on them. You better make that a requirement. If he trying to get someone new, you better tell him to come learn how to dance. you know,
Right.
shoot, up your game. Cause tell the cat if you want to tell him come out and step, he might have a chance. Do something like
Right.
that. Have
Right.
make him give. You sh- for me, women have always been the incentive to come out and
Yeah.
get to the wood. I don't need nothing else but to know. Oh, baby, she gonna be there. Shoot, look,
I'm gone. Right.
I'm coming, man. And what made me become a better dancer is that this one woman that was prominent on set, she turned me down. She looked me up and down like I was a young pup. She looked me up and down, boy, you ain't qualified to dance with me. Did I get mad and get in my feelings? Hell yeah. I, I
Beverly did me like that at High Steppers.
yeah. I was mad, man. And so and the first thing I went to do, and I got lucky because my dance partner and her birthday is today. Happy birthday, Janice. She saw that and she said, I'll dance with you. Man, she said, I'll dance with you. And I went and so this other woman could see me all the time. But
Right.
but that vibe hit from Janice, and next thing you know, I forgot all about what I was doing. See, because I'm a believer in this that without the vibe, you can't do a great dance. You got
I
to hit
agree.
the vibe, and that vibe comes from that music, and that comes from hearing that music and everything. And I was dancing with this woman. I don't remember what the song is, but all I know is that when I started lifting my hands and feet, we was together, and I pulled her in. We could slide left and slide right. I got through, And I stayed dancing with that woman. I was the type of cat when I was younger that if I found that vibe with you, I never wanted to let the vibe go. you
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
I wasn't trying to be Christopher Columbus and discover new America.
Right.
And what would happen 6 months later, the woman say, well, how come you don't dance with me?
Really?
Yeah.
Right. That's what you should have told her. Really?
Man, I walked away. Cause then it got to the point. Oh yeah, well, that's all he do. He done got stuck up. He just danced with her. And I used to do like that. It's a paradise out here for the brothers today. And I mean, I feel sorry for some of the ladies, but if I was young today, man, I wouldn't dance with all of y'all. I would find the ones that had that vibe with me, and those are
Hmm.
the only ones I want to dance with, because I'm not like, and I said this today earlier on my live, man. I I can't dance with everybody. I ain't gonna try. I know I got limitations, but
Hmm.
the ones that I hit that vibe with, man, I'm gonna try to cultivate that vibe and turn it gold.
Right.
And so
We're gonna rap these for songs.
how how important is that vibe, that connection with that vibe and that music in the dance?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, like, so I get this question often. So, like, when you look at, there was a period of time from like 2001 to about 2005 where I just kind of was off the scene, and I came to like the contest here and there, but I didn't come out dancing too often, right? And this is what I try to share with people nowadays about just just understanding that people come out for different types of reasons, and you have to honor and respect their reason for the dance, and why they're out doing it. And a lot of people be like, well, you know, how come you don't dance as much as you used to? Because the dance now is more about, I'm always having to some degree, modify the dance all the time instead of me being able to be free will in the dance and
Mm-mm.
have a good time, right? So that vibe that you're referring to comes when I can allow you to be you, I can be me, because
Yeah,
I know where you're gonna be. You
yeah,
know where to be at,
yeah,
so I could just be me and do me. But
yes,
if I'm always trying to redirect you because you want to be off here, you want to do an extra turn here. I didn't tell you to do this. You're gonna go there and do three kicks and a right turn, and now I can't do what I want to do because I'm too busy trying to make sure you're gonna be where you're supposed to be.
man,
So that that infringes on the vibe. So
man.
the song could be cold. You got that song and you just like, man, this is it. And then you get with this person and you like, everything I'm asking you to do, you just doing your own thing. You
Yeah.
have just ruined the vibe,
So
right?
so I was like dancing just recently with a young lady, right? And I wanted her to do an old move, right? I wanted her to just to take my hand and just drop it down.
Go over the back of the head. Right, a fake right turn or left, right? Just yeah.
Drop it down. And as soon as I raised it up, she went into the
She
turn.
was gone. She was
Yeah.
gone. Yeah, you ain't got to tell me. Yeah, she took off.
And I tried to put my hand on the hip to stop her and everything, hey. And then I just lit.
It was too late.
Yeah. And then I lit on the third time because I was determined to have her to do it. I said, don't turn. I
Yeah,
said,
let me just let this.
yeah, I said, don't turn. And I say, please don't follow me as you follow your instructor. Please don't do that. Cause I don't know what they done taught you. And I don't, I don't know none of that stuff. And I know
Right.
old school stuff. And here's the thing: when I put my hand on the hip, right, to stop it, when I was getting ready to lift up the hand for her to just let it down,
You
right?
turn the other way.
Yeah, I was putting pressure on her to stay still, stay still.
Right.
Listen, I'm communicating with my hands. in the dance all the time. I can lead you, but you got to feel this pressure. But some of these women is just with they get into the thing, and then they think I'm gonna take the hands and do this, do that thing. Like, man, I ain't never doing that. And, you know,
So they tell you what's funny, right? So I try to implement this sometimes in class, and I just be like, hey, listen, half the reason why y'all be sweating and working so hard is because you're doing just that. You're working too hard. When I get ready to make this turn, if you can absorb the pressure that I'm giving you, then I'm turning you. You're not turning yourself. I'm turning you. But as soon as you put their hand up, they gone. And then you be wondering where I'm like, hey, did you feel the rhythm I was trying to? You're not gonna feel it because you just as soon as I put your hand up, you was gone. Let me turn you. Then I can make the turn slow. I can make it medium. I can make it fast because you let me do it. Then you ain't got to worry about what rhythm you came back on because you went around on my rhythm. But they don't understand that.
yeah,
This is not a boxing match.
yeah,
I'm not here to be fighting with you, and I'm
yes,
not here for you to just be taking over the dance and lead me. You
yes,
fighting, I'm leading.
yes, yes.
That's not a fun dance. That's not a fun dance at all.
Listen, so I'm dancing. I like to dance with women that's been doing the 7-8, you know. I love that's doing that next generation dance because
Hmm.
I'm sitting up calculating, trying to calculate how can I maneuver to get this pulley.
Right.
I'm,
What point I can get him back around to this? Right.
I'm trying to get into that, but uh, 8 out of 10 times, the first time I danced with a woman that came out of an instructor taught class, they fail at doing it. They fail out of their eight. They fail out of doing it. They fail at doing it. I can get them, and eventually, by the time we get to the dance, to the end of the dance, they might get it. But if I don't get it with you at least 3 times and pull in 3 times in the dance, I'm not gonna ask you to dance no more. Because I think what happens is that you know, after they come raw and they're still in that county state, once they get to the point where the the count or however they doing it, that has to become second nature because then uh there's room for improvisation
Hmm.
because they know where they're gonna be because in my version of the dance under the kick, kick, cross, cross, I knew to get right was to always come back to the one, you know.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
I knew that, and in the new iteration, you don't want them to do that because if you go back to the one, you're gonna be in a turn, So no, don't do that. So I'm
Well,
steady trying
yeah.
to calculate and maneuver this woman to get her to pull her in and give her 3 rocks and then we start all over again. And that's been hard. And if I fail at doing that with a sister, I ain't gonna dance with you no more. And
Yeah.
I won't dance. I'll wait till you get seasoned and then I'll try to come because I believe very strongly that after you get your basics, you're supposed to allow those basics to manifest to whereas you can get to the point where you can start exhibiting,
Improvising.
yeah, and exhibiting and pushing forward your own creativity.
Exactly.
I'm praying for that. So, but I'm not the type person that looks at a person that says, well, you just start learning how to dance. I ain't gonna dance with you. I'm gonna try to dance with you because I'm always,
Right, curious.
yeah.
Yeah, you curious. You want to know, man, I wonder if I could get her to do this.
So let me see. She
Somebody
said,
just asked the question.
yeah, Reggie, you are the only guy I feel comfortable with the pull in. Now, if a guy pulls me in close, for some reason, that helps me. How do you get comfortable with the pull in? Reese, you might could deal with that. Uh
So the the pull-in, you gotta start looking at the pull-in as a little bit different, right? And a few things for women. When you feel a guy getting ready to pull you in close, you want to make sure that you either turning your head up or away from their face and more over towards their shoulder, so that way you don't feel uncomfortable. The other thing is you're looking for the movement to happen from the waist. A lot of times the pull in don't work because y'all holding on um, like you driving a truck. Y'all got your arms so tight when he go to pull you in, you, you're fighting against the motion of what it should be, right? The pull in is supposed to be gentle and soft, and it's supposed to be lower body down, not you holding on and you tight up here. He trying to pull you in for an embrace. That should be sensual to a certain degree, but it's supposed to be soft in that grasp. Nothing up here should be tight and tense. You know what I mean? The movement at that point, once you guys are together, gonna stem from the waist and the thigh motion down. So that tenseness that you're feeling is you being unsure, but you have to be relaxed in order for you to complete just your regular basic moves, let alone being pulled in for that type of emotion.
So on the pull in down, anytime I bring a woman in, I give the illusion that I'm full body front with the woman, but I'm
Hmm.
always on an angle. I'm always going to keep space
Right.
between the lower parts of my body because I never want a woman to feel like in my pull in that I'm going to violate her space. Now
Right.
there are some sisters that know how to some sisters know how to arch or whatever, and they know how to when I come in, they know how to lean towards me and we make this right. That comes that comes with time and
Yes.
repetition
Yeah.
on execution. You're not gonna get that right off.
There's only a few women that know what that is outside of that, And
Yeah,
when you get those women and you ain't never got to do that, you want to walk with them often.
all the time. Yes, sir.
You know what that feels
Sir.
like.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's a lot of times that with that pull in for me, it's just actually I'm just resting because sometimes
Hmm.
I just stop. A lot of people, and maybe you can help me out with this, Reese, because a lot of times I talk to people and I say music is a combination of sounds and silence.
Hmm.
To me, a great dance is a repetition of or a combination of movement and pauses. Do you
Hmm.
always have to be in constant motion when you dancing?
No, and I prefer to break that up just
Mhm.
for the monotony of the dance. Um, I'm always gonna break it up with some pauses because I just like the ability to kind of hold. Now, going back to what I used to tell people in competitive mode is, hey, sometimes you want to bring her in to get a little rest, take a deep breath or two, then come back on out. That's your rest period. Where most people are thinking that you're just doing the move. Hey, take your rest for a second and get on back out there. Take a deep breath. So you feel her getting tight and tense. Pull on in, let her feel you. Let her feel your heartbeat and your motion and what you feel like. Then let her on back out. Right. That's another part of getting that connection back. You be on the stage or you be dancing and you feel like the person is just getting a little wild and moving too fast. Bring them on in.
Yeah.
And sometimes you be like, come on in. Like, hey, you
So
know,
so you know
slow
you know
down.
Keisha Reese, right? You know Keisha Reese, right? Look, Keisha.
Uh-huh.
So Keisha, when the first time I danced with her, she was getting ready to cut loose, man. I looked at her and I saw her. She put her head down. That girl was getting ready to motor. Man, I pulled her in. It was like 30 seconds, and I had on the puller. I said, don't you go off on me like that.
I know how she said something slick back because that's just how she is.
Man, I
Right.
whispered in her ear right away because I saw Keisha and Keisha can go. He can go. I said, girl, I'm not gonna be able to keep up with you like this. Snoopy King, Snoopy King. Listen, one thing for certain, whatever I say, it is definitely not for everyone. I am not trying to ever generalize the dance for everyone because I am a strong believer in every person. Once the basics are the basics, okay? That go across the board. But after you get those basics, you need to become you in the dance.
Right.
I don't want to look like this that person, or the other person. I want to look like Reggie Miles. And I recommend that anybody dancing, that once you get that foundation, that solid foundation in your dance, you become who you are. Let
Well,
go whoever taught you. Let go of them, and then it goes into the vibe. The vibe, because every time you get a vibe with a different person, the dance should be
it's gonna
different.
be different.
It should
Yes. Yes.
be different. So, I
Yes.
mean, the way I dance with Wise Cat is not gonna be the same way I dance with the Michelle. It's not. And if it is like that, then I'm gonna quit dancing. Because I ain't trying to
No.
dance with. I'm not trying to do
A,
that.
a lot of the interpretation, though. Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Um, a,
Go ahead.
a lot of the interpretation of that um, goes back to what I said previous about you should be getting something from a little bit of here, a little bit of there, right? But a lot of these, and I'm gonna say it again, a lot of these instructors, they're putting such an imprint, they're not allowing for the person to develop their own characteristics. They
Right.
want you can't show them all the moves that you do, because then that's gonna be you and them,
Right.
right? You can't give them all your moves. Give them a little bit or a variation of here and there, but let them start to figure out what that's like on their own,
Yes.
right? When,
Yes.
you teach them some of this, and then say, "Hey, listen, give me what your variation. What are you listening to?
Yes.
Give me some
Yes.
of what you listen to, and
Yes.
then let me say, okay, all right, well, hey, let's just do this, and then we can get to this point. But you can't just give them everything that you got because they're gonna look like you. They need to start to take on some of their own characteristics. Let them go home and come back and ask some questions instead of just saying do this when you go home. Let them make some mistakes and figure some things out. Let them go over there and dance with XYZ and then come back and be like, well, why did this happen? Well, a couple of things could have happened. Let me give you some variations, and then let's see what you was doing, and then we can go from there.
Absolutely.
But they just want to give everybody all. You can't give everybody all your moves, and then think they're not gonna look like a replica of you. Then they struggle. Then they struggling trying to figure out why can't I do this? Because you keep doing the same basic 7/8 instead of trying to figure out for yourself. You can't do it exactly like they do it.
Yes.
I need
So,
I need a history lesson too because I need to figure out in which in what did it come from? Ballet? Did it come from? Where did it come from that we started the 7/8? Right? That to I don't teach 7/8, so I'm just curious because it doesn't make sense,
I hear you.
and and I just want to know who came up with this 7/8 to start off, because in my brain it just don't make sense that I'm gonna start off down the number line and then come back to 1 2. That don't make sense to me. It
Listen,
never made sense to me to start off on 7/8, then go 1 2 3 4. Like
there's
we
there's a
teaching 50 year
video.
old people. Come on,
There,
man.
there's a video. There's a video that was made down there at a university in Atlanta, talking about stepping and the culture. I will send that to you, okay? And it has the person that said that and started that. As a matter
They
of fact,
started it in they started it in stepping, or just because this is universal. They do
no,
this in ballet. They
no,
they they teach 7/8 in ballet. They teach 7/8 in hip hop dance. My sister teaches it. They teach it in hip hop dance. I want to know at what point and where did we get this from? In not it, they don't have to necessarily just be stepping, because I
okay,
don't
good.
think it's
All right,
you know what I'm saying. I'm saying
yeah,
that
I got you now.
it came from somewhere
I
that
got you
we
now.
we, we because they do it in all forms of dancing. Like even in salsa, bachata, where's this 7/8 coming from? Like, how did y'all skip past 1/2 and start at 7/8, only to then turn around and go back to 1/2? That does not make any logical sense to me. And
Well,
then you got to think you're not dealing with young people, you're dealing with older people normally. So you gonna wait till you done learn how to do math all these years, starting off with one, and now, and when I get 40 years old, I'm gonna turn my numbers around and start going 7/8. That don't make sense.
okay, well, all swing dances are 6 steps, right?
Okay, so why we gonna start on? But
And,
again,
and I guess 7/8 has been 7/8 has been the start off point, right? It's six numbers and 8 steps or something like that. But I have a colleague, Dr. Katrina Howland Hazard Dawson, and she wrote this book called I think it's Jukin. I got it in my bag, but she wrote this book. And just as soon as I get finished reading it, she goes really deep into how a lot of things were started as far as, the dance cultures were concerned here in the States among us.
mhm,
Because Black people are rich in the way they really started these dances. And it's like really nothing new under the sun. And one of the things culturally that a lot of that's been overlooked because of the money that's been involved in the dance is actually why do we dance? Uh,
mhm,
One of the reasons why we did dance, not only for entertainment and stuff, but that was the only time we had our own self-expression to be free. Being an oppressed people with our oppressor's foot on our neck for 5, 6 days a week. We had one day in the juke joint. Sometimes it was in people's garages, where we could get together, and we came together to merely just fall on each other,
mhm.
bear each other's uh frustration.
Hardship.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, you understand. And
Yeah.
a lot of times because of that's been forgotten. Cause when disco and house came, it brought with it a lot of baggage that got us away from the reason why we danced.
Mhm.
And so some of those things that we have to get back to why we dance. Why do we dance? And but
Right.
for now, we dance for various reasons. Like everybody hollers about somebody trying to show off. It's for the contest. It's for this and this that and this that and the other. But it's been so many reasons, and I'm cool with that. I'm cool with all of those things. But
Right.
we need to focus on why. The root. The root. One of my African students from Ghana, he said he always told me, and I've never forgotten this. And I gotta call him up. He said, once you know your roots, he say it is the roots that will set you free, or that will bring freedom to you. So
Mhm.
he's from Ghana, very shy brother. Let's see. Snoopy King says, this is Rats Real Talk. Trust me, I push my students to be creative and become their own, and I can't and no one can teach you to be sexy. It's either you or it's not. I'm not 7/8 either. I'm 6 count all day. Oh, there we go. I Ooh. One of my first other interviews, I was speaking with one of the young ladies, and it was an argument that was going on among the instructors because everybody was trying to get these students and the women on the side, and they were talking about it was 6 count sex and 8 count sex. I said, I say, so where was the culture at being taught with that? So it's really crazy. Some of the things that people really wanna talk about this dance, but this dance is really about us just coming together and being a great people. Tell us about what you got planned for Fade to Black for 2024. And tell us about the organization, why you started it, and all that kind of stuff.
So um, in 2006, I started World Steppers Inc. When I moved here to Atlanta, me and my best friend Joel, um, I saw a need in the community to push the dance forward. So um, I came up with World Steppers Inc. And we started you know teaching and having events so that we could come together and just have a great time in a space that was needed, right? And my vision was just to bring the community together and keep pushing the love for stepping forward, right? Um, my logo used to be Step into a New World, right? I just recently changed the logo, which is what I have on now, the World Steppers Inc. logo, which is what I have on now,
Mhm.
to
Stand
family,
up, let us see
family.
it. Stand up, stand up, let us see it. All right.
And I changed it to family, culture, and stepping.
Okay.
And the reason why I changed it to that is because I wanted to change the vision to incorporate more of the era that we're in now, and I wanted it to be more about family and the culture before the stepping. The stepping is just an expression of our family and our culture. Um, if by some form of whatever happens, then we were unable to dance, the music and the feeling and the coming together as a group of people would still be within us, whether we could move or not. That's what's more important. We come together because we can do it, but us coming together is more important. And I wanted to just keep pushing that because I love the dance. It's a natural talent for me to do what I do. God has given me this talent, and not only has He given it to me to dance, He's given it to me to um, profess it. He's given it to me to express it, and I am grateful for the ability to do that. So I just want to share it to as many people as I can. I tell people this all the time. I feel like stepping should be the number one dance in the country, period. That's what I feel about it. That's how I've always felt about it. I don't think there's no other expression of dance for me that I would rather do and rather see more so than stepping. So I just want to expose it to as many people as possible. And I brought this group together to continue in that vision. And together we can just keep sharing it and expressing it and loving it the way we do. And Fade to Black is just is just an event that allows us to express that very feeling to the people that we like to be around and to the family and to the culture. That's why on this past event in October, I gave Claudel the Mentorship Award. He actually has an award now. I'll give that out every year. It's the Guiding Light Award, courtesy of Claudel Jackson. So it'll be in his name for the next person that is to receive that award. Um, and I found that to be very important because he inspired me, and I'm hoping that I can be that same inspiration to somebody else
Absolutely.
after me.
Absolutely.
Um, and Fade to Black, I came up with that name because I just felt like we were getting away from our black culture and heritage, and I felt like, hey, we're gonna always be black. We're gonna always fade to black. I don't care what's going on in our lives. We're gonna fade back to our roots, like you say, and our culture, which is black. And that's why I named it Fade to Black for the event. It'll be October 17th through the 20th this year in Atlanta. Again, at the 12 Hotel in Atlantic Station. We are looking to do and continue just to move forward and push the envelope and bring new things to the community as usual. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I appreciate all the people that came and supported me. The Chicago people for my 50th, that was my 50th that just passed.
Happy
When I
birthday.
tell you, appreciate you. When I tell you they came out and they supported, they were there for me. All my, like you say, the elders. I had so many elders that came down that were my stepping moms and my mentors and uncle. Stephen Smith's, we call him old Smitty. Smitty was here, and Claudel, and those are the people that meant a lot. Trey Nicole, Mama Belinda Jones, Patricia, Pat, Mary. All these instrumental people that were there for me when I was dancing, and that I created a bond with for the respect that I had from them before me. Those are the people that came and showed support and love for the character that they saw in me. And I just will be that for the people that are coming behind me. And I want to express that for the people that know nothing of stepping, so that they can see that we have something within our culture that we can share amongst one another and enjoy together.
Right. So I'm just running down these comments, and I want to thank
Mhm.
everybody. Woo! They talking about the vegan food was delicious that you had down there.
They're funny.
Yeah. All right. Yes, sir, Lawrence. You and Letha have definitely inspired many across the city and the event of Lynn John is saying
Hey, Lynn John. What's happening, Lynn John?
it's beautiful. Lynn, Keith Hubbard, Letha, Rose Kelly, Snoopy, Wise Cat. Wise Cat, I'm gonna dance with you again. Uh Michelle, everybody that checked in, thank you all so much. Next week will be a conversation with DJ Bell.
Bell, DJ Bell.
Man, I honor you. I appreciate you. Thank you for the history of you. Now I know. And I'm just like excited. Oh, but wait a minute though. Tell us again. Tell me again a list of folks you came through for you jumped out up here on the scene on your own. Your parents and family. And
Yeah. Um, um, definitely, my twin grandmother and my auntie, they were, instrumental in me seeing that bopping in its original form.
mm-hmm.
Um, but coming into the dance, again, like my people, my mentors that I truly looked up to, were people like, again, Claudel, Ice Ray, Ice Rob, George Macaroni, Magic Mike, Calvin Barnes. Um, the women were Leanna, Joyce, Desi O'Kelly, um, Tina Moore, um, Lady Jerry, Black Mary, um, Cheryl Jackson, Good Time Production, Cheryl Jackson. Just a lot of people. I can go on and on for naming, but those were some very instrumental people in me learning this dance.
I just wanted to say that, and I just wanted you to say that again, so everything is cool. I honor you for sharing your story and enlightening me on the philosophies and the movement of the generation that's twice behind me. So I applaud that, man. I'm cool. I'm really good with that now, cause now as Maya Angelou says, when you know better,
You do better.
you do better. So I'm all about this history. You history now, player.
Right. Right. The same as us, right?
You history now, cause this is in the conversation archives. You've been digitized.
Right. And
So
I have two series already that I'm doing. I'm gonna start again. I have a program on YouTube under Reese Turner. It's called The Details. I have hard conversations and give a lot of details about the things that we grow from, the things that we go through in the community. So starting in January, I'll be back on YouTube with the details, just trying to help those that are coming into the dance understand the culture and understand what they're coming into. So that way they have an idea of what we're about.
How much has the culture changed from the time you were in it to today? Or what did you see as the changes in the culture?
I think the culture has changed quite a bit. And the reason why I say that is because the first thing that you can go to is um, the level of engagement and fun that you have at an event, right? It's more of a show and go now, more of it. Before we were just trying to be better. We were just trying to, you always want to show your stuff a little bit, but it was not in malice or in bad intent. It was just, you just wanted people to see you, know that, hey, I want to be able to dance with who I want to be able to dance with. So you tried to show that off so that you can get more dances and be around the people that were better than you. Whereas in this day and age, I believe that a lot of it is just for accolades and just for
Mm.
press release and just to be seen and not, just to be seen. It's a lot of that. Now, I'm not saying that's everybody, but there is quite a bit of that. Instead of understanding that if you work on your craft and you want to be good at this, you gonna be that light. They gonna see you, because you being who you are authentically. If you
Yeah,
trying to be somebody else, it's gonna take them a longer time to see who you are because you presented someone else first.
yeah.
So that's how I look at it.
Well, man, I appreciate it. I'm glad this is the last week of school for me. And
Right.
man, uh, got things to do. I want to wish you and your family, your crew, Wells Steppers Inc. I want to wish all of y'all happy Thanksgiving.
I appreciate you, my brother, and definitely, I want you to be blessed and have much God's favor upon you.
Oh man, hallelujah. We'll do that, man. I just got a text talking about I got to work, man. I got to work Thursday and Sunday. Oh, yeah. But at least I'll be off Wednesday, so I'm going out to have a good time, and
Okay, good.
I'm gonna do some dancing, and I'm gonna keep walk. Oh, we got to keep walking alive.
Got to keep walking alive.
Got to keep walking alive. It's like for me, you can't have one without the other. That's like you can't have a relationship with just one person.
Right,
You got,
right,
and so the other half, and I don't know which is the better half, but one is stepping and one is walking. So
right.
both of those are unified. So my goal right now ultimately is to get the listen in 60 minutes. Steppers get 48. Just give the walkers 12. That's
Yeah,
all, that's all I want is 12.
yeah. I
Step,
agree.
steppers get 48. Give me 12. That's all. Just 12. And
I
not
agree.
not three of the shortest walkers. So you can give me one long song and then
And two
two
short.
long equal.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna guess I'm gonna call it the 48-12 rule.
Okay.
48 minutes of stepping, 12 minutes of
12
walking.
minutes of walking. I take that all day long.
Yeah, and I wish that the jocks would learn to compliment each other. One of the things that jocks do, and I'm like, and I know it's a difference with the street jocks and this, that, and other, but I've been teaching this like for 30 years, 35 years now, as being a radio personality. If your DJ, if your DJ, or I don't care who it is, if he comes out and he got he coming out on some strong, fast, just some good popular songs. You should start off opposite of what he did. Don't
Right.
continue it because if he been playing that an hour, right, already, and you come in and you're gonna do it for at least 45 minutes, that means the walker's gonna have to wait.
In 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And it happens
Right.
all the time. When all you gotta do, listen, because A lot of people want to walk now, man. A
Yeah,
lot of
like it's growing. Walking is growing.
man, it's growing, man. They want to walk, and a lot of guys ain't. They not being Chester the molester. The ladies are now getting comfortable.
Hmm.
They're now getting comfortable dancing with different guys, when they present themselves, because it's walking appears to be intimate. You can make it really an illusion of intimacy, but when
Yes.
executed in the right way, you ain't all up on no woman. You ain't
Right.
up in her grill. You're not doing all that. But going back, if the other DJ done played like an hour of step music, it might be nice. Cause I've seen times when the cats play so much stepping music that the people tired.
Yeah. And
you
they
know,
sit down on the walking. Right.
yeah, and they sit down, and then when you play the walking music, they can't. They too tired to get up and dance. It
Hmm.
wasn't like back in the day where it was like some people would come to the sets just to walk.
Right.
Back in the day, some guys they would hang out in the lounges or at the set places just because they wanted to walk. They didn't want to be doing all that fast dancing. But man, every now and then a break is good. Man, I appreciate you. This is this was
Thank you, my brother.
this was great. This was really great. And I want to thank you for spending over 2.5 hours
I
with
know,
me. And
right?
we
Right.
was just talking, boy.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're having a good time and you're talking about some good stuff. The time just going past.
And that's the love, man. So I appreciate you, man, for being a part
Definitely.
of this conversation. DJ Vale next week. Y'all give it up. Y'all send them hearts up on Facebook for
Yes. Yes.
Reese. Put it up for him. Thank you. I appreciate you. And the reason why I had to restart, right? Because it didn't connect to Facebook right away. So that's why I had
Hmm.
to take it and restart the program all over again. I had to put in a
Oh,
whole
okay.
stuff. So that's how it got kicked out. And I had to send you a new link. Appreciate y'all very much. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you,
Is
Lonnie.
that Brenda Price?
Yeah, that's Brenda J.
That's
Parker.
my. Oh,
Yeah,
Parker. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And so everybody got this information, and that's all Chicago. That's all what we're about. Take care, Reese.
All right. Much love, baby. Have a great, happy Thanksgiving. Talk to y'all soon.
Well, we had it. We had it. Conversation going on. I appreciate that, brother. So now I'm going to be getting more brothers of that caliber in that generation, and we gonna be talking. That's all we gonna be doing is talking, because it's no debate, no controversy, just a straight up discussion. I appreciate it, because I'm gonna kind of like erase that doubt that all the elders are mean and we want to fight all the time, because we don't. I don't. Uh when you know better, you do better. You can see now this conversation on YouTube. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to watch the show now. As I lay down and rest and get ready for work tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. And until we meet again at the next appointed time, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works that glorify your Father, which is in heaven. I'm going to leave you in his care. Rose talking about, I'm going to leave you in his care. And peace out. Next week, it is DJ Vale. Thank you all so much.